Chapter 21, 17 Seal Again. Chapter 21, 17 Seal Again. 3 months later. Yemo has set the new sealing formation method. He made piles of formation flags. Mountains of materials were turned into formation flags. A year later, Yemo looked at the pile of formation flags and rejoiced that he encountered the Du Ting God sect leader. Otherwise, with the materials he prepared, it wouldn't even be enough to forge even half of the formation flags. Li Xiu was helping Yemo on the side too, organizing the formation flag types. The two didn't say much, but they were getting more and more worried. They thought that the formation would last decades, but they could visibly see the formation flags deteriorating. With this speed, the formation could completely break in 3 to 5 years, and the tunnel between Immortal Realm to the Divine Tao Realm would completely open. Seeing Yemo only make formation flags, Li Xiu couldn't resist asking, "Immortal Friendy, why don't you set up a few formation flags to stabilize the formation first?" Yemo shook his head. "No, if I set up formation flags now, it would be pointless. It would cause trouble for when we set up the formation." Yemo's formation skills were much higher than Li Xiu's. He knew that this formation base was complete. If he repaired the formation on there now, it would damage the formation base. Once he made all the formation flags and set up the formation again, he would damage the base again. Yemo didn't want to do this. Although the formation was about to collapse, Yemo believed that as long as he was here, ordinary people wouldn't be able to go to the Immortal Realm, unless a Tao Essence Divine Emperor came. But to Yemo, real Tao Essence Divine Emperors, or even Tao Actualization Divine Emperors, wouldn't even want to go to a lower realm. 2 years later, Yemo finished the last formation flag and found that he had pretty much no materials left. Yemo breathed easy. He finally finished all the formation flags before the formation collapsed. He gave some formation flags to Li Xiu and a formation jade slip, Big Palace Lord. When you go to the Immortal Realm, just do according to this jade slip. Li Xiu took it and nodded. Yemo waved out a few more formation flags, and a clear tunnel appeared in the mist. Seeing Yemo open up a portal to the Immortal Realm so easily, she was very shocked. "Immortal Friendy, is there anything else you need me to do?" Li Xiu didn't go in immediately and asked. Yemo thanked that Li Xiu was smart. He took out a storage ring and gave it to her. "Big Palace Lord, there are some god crystals and 2 low-grade god spirit ranges inside, and some of my cultivation experience. It's for you." Li Xiu thanked and took the storage ring. She knew that some of the god crystals were for the formation. The rest were for her. Yemo took out another blue bead and gave it to Li Xiu. "This is a small world I spirit controlled. If you have time to go to Gong Hua Heaven Mou Immortal Sect, please give this to my wife Luoying." This bead was no small world. It was the truth spirit world he got from the purple-robed Immortal Emperor. Yemo placed many things inside, including the storage ring for Yiling, Bei Wei, and Qingxue. He gave it to Luoying, as Luoying was like a big sister to them all. No one would think more because Luoying had extra things in her hand. Li Xiu took the bead and bowed to Yemo. "Thank you, immortal friend. Li Xiu will definitely get this done." Only Li Xiu knew why she was doing something for Yemo, and still thanked him. Yemo could have gone back to the Immortal Realm himself, but he chose not to, as that would take time and the formation was about to collapse. Yemo knew what she thought, but he didn't completely think like that. He left an opening for the new formation, but it was very costly to leave this opening. He used a Wu Xiang secret gold. It was the highest level formation material, and Yemo only had this one piece. He used this just so he had the chance to go back to the Immortal Realm from here. However, he had too little and could only make 3 formation flags with it. 2 of them connected to the formation and 1 opened the formation. The formation can only be used once, so he only had 1 chance to return to the Immortal Realm. When he came back from the Void Marketplace, he could use this formation flag to return to the Immortal Realm. This formation was about to collapse, so he didn't have time to go back to the MOU Immortal Sect. Compared to the Immortal Realm, He wanted to go visit the Void Marketplace even more. Seeking an opportunity to reach Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was one primary reason, but another purpose was that he heard there were people from the Abyssal Realm at the Void Marketplace. He wanted to ask if he could get Wanqing's soul from the Abyssal Realm. Yi Mo knew that his power was too weak for the Abyssal Realm. Even Primordial Essence Divine Emperor Duanmu Yuebu died from the Abyssal Realm. Then Li Xiu will leave first. Li Xiu bowed to Yi Mo and said. Before Yi Mo could speak, a figure charged into the dark mist. Someone is here already? The person saw Yi Mo and Li Xiu and was a little shocked, but then he saw that both Yi Mo and Li Xiu were far weaker than him. Yi Mo immediately realized that it was right of him to not go back to Mou Immortal Sect. This was a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. If he went back, Li Xiu was definitely no match for this person. This person would charge into the immortal realm again. Piss off. This man hacked a red beam at Yi Mo. Yi Mo was going to kill this man regardless. Yi Mo sneered and punched. Shatter, Space God, Art swept the space lethal force, which instant swept away the red beam and locked onto the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately felt his surroundings were locked as he called out in shock. Despite the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor underestimating Yi Mo, he still broke free from the fist force lock and released a huge blue bowl. Clank! The bowl was smashed by Yi Mo's fist force, shaking ripples out of the nearby space. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor released the bowl by force, but couldn't completely activate it, and it was punched away. He was smashed by the powerful fist force and spat a few mouthfuls of blood as he flew back. Before he could speak, Yi Mo waved his hand and 5 lightning spear destruction struck down. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was tommed to pieces. Li Xiu was scared. If this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor used the tunnel to get to the immortal realm, then with how he slaughtered without saying anything, the entire immortal realm would turn into his truth spirit world. Big Palace Lord, the sealing formation is broken and more people will come. Go back to the immortal realm now and we'll set up formation. Yi Mo took the storage ring and said, Okay, Li Xiu will wait for immortal friend. He has good news in the immortal realm. Li Xiu said and entered the formation. Ninghai was now a famous city in China purely because a legend. Yi Mo once lived here. In an ancient street, there was an old Taoist fortune teller saying, Your fortune, luck hasn't arrived yet. Go back and eat some more sweet potatoes. 3 years later you might. The old man suddenly got up in surprise and joy and looked at the distant sky. Great, great, the formation seal is repaired. If it's you, then I chose right. Then he ignored the middle-aged man and packed up the stall to leave. Hey, you haven't finished yet! But no matter how the middle-aged man called, the Taoist ignored him and disappeared amongst the crowd in a few minutes. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2118 The Tao Fruit Returner is here. Chapter 2118 The Tao Fruit Returner is here. Yi Mo's space-time boat had left the immortal realm tunnel now. Mu Xiaoyan, Qing Ru, and them were on the space-time boat. Even small ginseng came out. Including Yi Mo, there were 7 people on this. Yi Mo felt very good. He wanted to seal this formation before he even came to the divine Tao realm. Now that he finally did it, he would be at Gong Hua Heaven already if he wasn't going to the Void Marketplace. Going to the Void Marketplace wasn't a matter of a day or 2. Yi Mo couldn't use the teleportation formation here. He was prepared to fly long-term. Now that everyone was chatting here, Yi Mo was happy to share his cultivation experience with everyone. Brother Yi, if it wasn't for you, I might never be able to wake up from the ice god forbidden grounds. Qing Ru sighed again. Yemo had an approximate guess whether it would be those frozen girls in the ice god forbidden grounds. Chingru didn't explain, and Yemo didn't ask. He felt that Chingru despised that thing too. Yemo was a bit sad thinking that he saved Chingru with the Heaven Heart Return Soul pill because Chingru had a sliver of soul left. However, Wanqing's soul had dissipated. Even that pill wouldn't work. Seeing Yemo was a bit sad, Chingru thought he was thinking about the Ice God Palace trapping him with the Ice God formation. Just when she wanted to comfort Yemo, she heard Yemo suddenly say shadowless, "Stop the space-time boat. We'll go down and have a look." Marshall's sister Runin, long time no see. Yemo walked out of the space-time boat. One of the three was the dark-skinned Nyo Runin. Before, she said that she was going to leave the Han God Comer, so seeing her still here, Yemo felt a bit strange. "Your Marshall brother, Yemo." Nyo Runin immediately recognized Yemo. "Why are you still here?" Nyo Runin saw the extremely beautiful Chingru and Mu Shaoyin and asked. She knew that Yemo offended too many people here. Yemo should be going as far away as possible. "Don't worry about why I'm here. I'm asking why you haven't left yet?" Yemo had a good impression of her. She helped him a lot when he first came to the divine Tao realm. "You have no business here. Move aside." The two men with Nyo Runin yelled to Yemo. If it wasn't that Yemo was no weaker than them, they would have attacked. Yemo could tell these two stopped Nyo Runin. He knew that Nyo Runin wouldn't start trouble for no reason, so he raised his palm and slapped over. The man who just spoke was slapped a kilometer away onto a small hill, blasting it to pieces. Nyo Runin knew Yemo was powerful, but she didn't expect Yemo became this powerful. She looked dazedly at Yemo and forgot to speak. The other immortal emperor reacted and immediately said, "We're from the Han God Comer." Qianbei attacked without reason. Before the immortal emperor finished, he was slapped away by Yemo again into the other immortal emperor. Both of them couldn't get up. Two immortal emperors were the peak of the immortal realm, but under Yemo's hands, they were worse than insects. Nyo Runin reacted and looked gratefully at Yemo. "When I left the Mu Hua God Mountain, I left the Han God Corner. Then I saw my mother at Shui Yun God Domain. Didn't your mother leave you when you were young?" Yemo asked. Nyo Runin nodded. "Yes. Later I realized that my mother had no choice. When I saw my mother again, I lived happily with her. But at this moment something happened. When we went out, we found a heaven life, Tao fruit." Yemo asked, "Isn't this a good thing? It can help you learn life and vindicate Tao." Nyo Runin sighed. "This was a good thing, but both of us had no experience in taking Tao fruit. We didn't immediately bind the Tao fruit, causing its Tao waves to seep outside. This caught others' attention and drew over a Tao nourishment divine emperor. That Tao nourishment divine emperor robbed our Tao fruit, but left the chi of the Tao fruit. This brought over the people of the Han God Corner. They took away my mother and told me to bring over the Tao fruit I hid. But where can I go find it? I have no Tao fruit." Ching Ru sighed. "The Han God Corner didn't search by force?" Nyo Runin said nothing, but Yemo sneered. "No, that young mistress wants to preserve her reputation. If Nyo Runin didn't get back the Tao fruit, there would be forced search waiting for her." Ching Ru smiled and didn't argue. "Let's go. I'll go with you to the Han God Corner." Yemo said. The Han God Corner was nothing to him now. Nyo Runin looked at Yemo in shock. "Marshall brother Yi, the Han God Corner might have Tao actualization divine emperor. Even if they don't, they definitely have Tao nourishment divine emperor." To Nyo Runin, Yemo was strong, but he wasn't a divine emperor yet. How could he mess with the Han God Comer? "Don't worry, the young mistress owes me. I believe she would show me some face." Yemo comforted. Nyo Runin nodded. The Han God Corner was the same as when Yemo came back last time. It was still like a small village. Shadowless, small ginseng and chiurang were sent into the golden page world. Mu Xiaoyan, Qing Ru and Fu Fei flew before the god corner with Yi Mo. The two guards clearly knew Niu Rennin. Seeing Niu Rennin bring Yi Mo and them, they said nothing and let them in. The strongest of them was only an immortal emperor. Rennin, who are they? A pretty green, robed woman appeared. Yi Mo knew this woman, of course. She was the young mistress of the Hung God Corner. She only knew Yi Mo, but didn't know the three behind him. When her eyes fell on Qingru, she was very shocked of Qingru's looks. She had always been confident in her looks, but in front of Qingru, she felt embarrassed about herself. Qingru's perfect body and face was like the embodiment of beauty. Even Mu Xiaoyan was better than her. Young mistress, you know Yi Mo. The other three are Yi Mo under stress friends. Niu Rennin said. Hung Wanman said calmly, in that case, let's go in first. Rennin, don't worry, I will definitely help you. Yi Mo sneered, definitely help? Then you wouldn't lock up her mother. Since when was her mother locked up? She's a guest at the Hung God Comer. Hung Wanman's face looked bad. Yi Mo didn't sell the god Heartstone to her, and even took her lightning sound ages fruit. Now that he came to the Hung God Corner, don't blame her then. She suspected Yi Mo had powerful means, but what happened before made her feel even more that Yi Mo was with those guys. That's why she could escape. Even if Yi Mo was truly strong and the strongest half-divine, he would have to be obedient in front of the Hung God Comer divine emperors. There were 2 Dao nourishment divine emperors and 2 Dao molding divine emperor in the palace. There were also a few immortal emperors and a white-robed woman whose brows were locked in a frown. The atmosphere here was strange. At this moment, the Dao nourishment divine emperor sitting at the top took out a communication bead and looked at it before laughing. Rennin is back and brought the EMO half-divine. One of her lightning sound ages fruit was taken by this person. It seems he has come to return the fruit. He was laughing as he spoke, but the killing intent in his eyes were obvious. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2119, Which Tower Master? Chapter 2119, Which Tower Master? Yu Rennin. That white-robed woman saw Niu Rennin come and her eyes dimmed. She knew that both of them wouldn't be able to get away. When she saw Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan, she sighed. How could women like them get away when they came to the Hung God Corner? Yi Mo saw Niu Rennin's mother. She wore white robes and was very pretty. He was speechless. This woman looked younger and prettier than Niu Rennin. Her skin was much whiter too. Not only that, she was a Dao molding divine emperor too. You're Yi Mo, the one who took the lightning sound ages fruit from Wanman? The Dao nourishment divine emperor who spoke before said. Yi Mo sat down and told Qingru and them to sit before saying, That's right, I'm Yi Mo, but I didn't take the ages fruit. I made a deal with the young mistress. The other Dao nourishment divine emperor sneered. He was very unhappy that a mere immortal emperor dared to be this cocky. Made a deal? What could an immortal emperor have to deal with my lightning sound ages fruit? Hung Wanman said in contempt. Yi Mo suddenly looked at Hung Wanman and said, I've seen many shameless women, but someone as shameless as you is a first. How could Yi Mo not know what she meant? She wanted to regret. She completely cast aside him, helping her suppress that half-divine. You're asking to die. A Dao molding divine emperor suddenly got up and was about to attack Yi Mo. Yi Mo sneered. He wanted to talk nicely and help Niu Rennin find the heaven fate Dao fruit, but since the Hung God Corner couldn't even wait, then he would fight. Stop! A sneer sounded from the palace, and 2 men came out of the door. They were both Dao actualization divine emperor. Yi Mo immediately recognized the latter man. He was the city lord of Luan Lan Divine Dao City Dong, and Yi Mo gave him a Dao fruit, and he got large amounts of useful information from him. He thought Dong and was in solitary cultivation or at the god Necropolis domain to break through to Dao Essence Divine Emperor. This is Great Sun God Mountain Elder Dong, the Dao Actualization Divine Emperor, who came in with Dong and said. The people of the Hang God Corner immediately got up to bow. The Great Sun God Mountain was the most dominant sect right now. Who didn't know this? The Hang God Corner Dao Actualization Divine Emperor saw the Yi Mo and then didn't get up and was about to rage. He stopped the Dao Molding Divine Emperor because he didn't want to be rude in front of the Great Sun God Mountain Dao Actualization Divine Emperor. However, this little immortal emperor really needs a beating. The Great Sun God Mountain Dao Actualization Divine Emperor was here, and he dares to keep sitting. Dong saw Yi Mo and immediately smiled as he walked up to Yi Mo and saluted with his fists, so Tower Master Yi is here too. It's really my honor to see Tower Master Yi here. So, it's Castle Master Dong. It's indeed a fortunate encounter. Yi Mo got up and saluted with his fists. The palace immediately fell silent. What place was the Great Sun God Mountain? Many people didn't know originally, but when they reopened their sect, the entire divine Dao realm knows now. They were one of the 3 divine sects and was stronger than the immortal goddess sacred sect before. Now, they even suppressed immortal goddess sacred sect into submission. Such a sect's Dao Actualization Divine Emperor was like the highest emperor of a god corner. Yet this person went up to Yi Mo to greet him. Was Yi Mo this mere immortal emperor that powerful? That Hung God Corner Dao Actualization Divine Emperor primary stage immediately reacted. The immortal emperor definitely wasn't ordinary, or Dong and wouldn't be this polite. Realizing this, his anger dissipated immediately and walked over to Yi Mo and saluted with his fists. Hung Ran is very honored that Tower Master he can come to my Hung God Corner. He didn't know what Tower Master Yi Mo was, but since Dong called him this, he could only follow. But Yi Mo didn't show him any face and said coldly, really? If it wasn't for Castle Master Dong, perhaps people of the Hung God Corner would have attacked me already. Hung Rail's face dazed. He didn't expect Yi Mo to lash out like this. He was a Dao Actualization Divine Emperor, and no matter how high Yi Mo's status was, he was only an immortal emperor. Yi Mo continued, after a while, you probably wouldn't feel honored because I came to the Hung God Corner to look for trouble today. If I'm unhappy, I will kill people today. Before Hung Rail's face, just dazed, but now, Yi Mo's words made him furious. Even if the Great Sun God Mountain Dao Actualization Divine Emperor Elder was angry, he would teach him a lesson. His face went green, and then he saluted with his fists to Dong and Castle Master Dong. Where does this Tower Master Yi come from? If the Hung God Corner mistreated him, we can make up for it. Hung Ran was really furious. His words meant that he could not touch Yi Mo on Castle Master Dong's account, but if Yi Mo didn't have any special relations with the Great Sun God Mountain, then he would go up to get revenge. Dong didn't seem to understand this and smiled. Tower Master, Yi opened a pill and forgery divine tower at Luanlan Divine Dao City. He's probably roaming around now. If immortal friend Hung wants to compensate, you would probably not find an opportunity. Dong sneered inside. Hung Ran was just a Dao Actualization Divine Emperor of the Hung God Comer, and he was only Dao Actualization Divine Emperor primary stage. Yi Mo wasn't even scared of him and killed the sect leader of the Du Ting God sect. Hung Ran was really a piece of cake to Yi Mo. Hung Ran heard this, and his face changed. How could he not understand Dong An's words? This definitely wasn't sarcasm. He really needed to make compensations. Just who was this Tower Master Yi? Wait, Luanlan Divine Dao City, Pill and Forgery Divine Tower Master? Immediately, Hung Ran understood who Yi Mo was. His face went pale as he saluted with his fists to Yi Mo, Tower Master. Yi, are you the Tower Master of the Luanlan Divine Tao City? Luo Yupil and Forgery Divine Tower? With this, everyone in the palace realized what was going on. Those two Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and Tao Molding Divine Emperor's face went pale. Clearly, they knew who Yi Mo was. A few years ago, Yi Mo killed the sect leader of Du Ting God sect, Wei Xian, outside the Luanlan Divine Tao City. His ferocious name had sprayed. Who was Wei Xian? He was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor peak stage and was about to reach Tao Essence Divine Emperor. He was very powerful. Ordinary Tao Actualization Divine Emperor tertiary stages were nothing to him, and yet such a person wanted revenge against Tower Master Yi and was killed outside the city. News spread slowly in the Divine Tao realm, but this news was already known by all the nearby people. His Hung God Corner was nothing compared to the Du Ting God sect. Yi Mo killed their sect leader, and they didn't do anything to Yi Mo. Now, his Hung God Comer wanted to keep Yi Mo. This was suicide. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor, who wanted to attack Yi Mo, sweated cold. He knew that if Yi Mo wanted to kill him, even the Grand Sect leader couldn't protect him. Please sit, please sit. Hung Ran's heart shook while he ordered, bring the best wine of our Hang God Corner. I need to treat Elder Dong and Tower Master Yi. Dong smiled and said nothing. He sat not far from Yi Mo. Hung Wanman's face was purple. She didn't expect this Yi Mo was that powerful. He even killed Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. In the Divine Tao realm, who could kill Tao Actualization Divine Emperor? Yi Mo killed the Du Ting God sect leader? Neo Runin's mother was more cunning and immediately realized this. She quickly dragged Neo Runin to sit next to Yi Mo and poured a cup of wine to Yi Mo. She glanced seductively at Yi Mo and said, Tower Master Yi is Runin's friend. Chinya, thank Tower Master. Yes, help towards Runin. Then, she drank the wine and looked seductively at Yi Mo. Yi Mo was speechless. Neo Runin was such a good person. Why did she have such a mother? Neo Runin was so embarrassed that her head was almost at her leg. Haha, I heard a friend has come to the Hung God Comer. I've come to celebrate. I hope the friend won't disappoint me. A figure appeared at the palace door. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2120 Look at My Strike. Chapter 2120 Look at My Strike. Zhu Guangqi immediately saw Yi Mo at the door. He came here as he got news of Yi Mo. When he saw Yi Mo, killing intent flashed across his eyes, but then he looked shocked as Dong was here too. Greetings, Castle Master Dong. I didn't expect to see your honorable presence here, Zhu Guangqi said. Then he looked at Hung Ran and greeted. He was just a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but he wasn't scared of Hung Ran. Yi Mo saw this person and sneered. He hadn't looked for this guy's trouble, but this guy dared to come to him. So it's Shui Yun God City, City Lord Zhu. Dong and saluted with his fists. Shui Yun God City Lord was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage Master who was no weaker than Dong, and Zhu Guangqi was the second city, Lord of the city. Neo Runin's mother quickly bowed to this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and said, Chinya greets City, Lord Zhu. Zhu Guangqi clearly knew Neo Runin's mother and laughed. Sister Chinya is really getting prettier. Neo Runin's face looked back. She could tell Zhu Guangqi came here for Yi Mo, and perhaps there was great conflict between them. She didn't want her mother to talk to Zhu Guangqi much, but clearly their relationship wasn't ordinary. Neo Chinya seemed to realize Yi Mo and Zhu Guangqi weren't on good terms and stopped talking. Haha, City Lord Zhu came to my humble residence. Please be high-seated. Hung Ran saluted with his fists. Regardless if Yemo was really strong, he could tell that Zhu Guangqi was here for Yemo. It was best that Zhu Guangqi fought with Yemo, and Yemo killed Zhu Guangqi, and then offend the big city, Lord Laojin. Then Laojin would fight with Yemo. After Zhu Guangqi sat down, Hung Ran said intentionally, City Lord Zhu really caught me by surprise coming to my Hang God corner. He was indeed scared by Yemo's origin before. Yemo actually killed Du Ting God sect leader. This news was too shocking, but now that he calmed down, he felt things weren't right. First, Yemo was only Immortal Emperor cultivation level. Even if Yemo hit his power level, he didn't seem old. No matter how talented he was, there was no way he was Dao Actualization Divine Emperor peak stage. Second, Yemo knew Dong and was Dao Actualization Divine Emperor peak stage. Who knew if Dong and was involved in Wei Xian's death? If they joined up to kill Wei Xian and then announced that Yemo did it, no one would be able to tell. After all, Dong represented the Great Sun God Mountain, and if a Dao Actualization Divine Emperor Elder of the Great Sun God Mountain suddenly killed the sect leader of a god sect, this was no small matter. It would affect the Great Sun God Mountain's reputation. Now that he thought this through, he was no longer scared of Yemo. Even if he used a proper excuse to kill Yemo, Dong couldn't say anything. Zhu came suddenly this time indeed. I'll apologize first. Zhu Guangqi saw that Dong was here and immediately changed his plans. He would calm Dong first. As for Hung Ran, he believed this guy wouldn't stop him. City Lord Zhu, you're too polite. I'm happy that City Lord Zhu is here at my Hung God corner. How can I blame you? Hung Ran said with a face of smile. Zhu Guangqi could see Hung Ran's attitude, and he immediately said, I came here to get revenge today. I was set up by this person, but Castle Master Dong and Immortal Friend Hung are both here. This is quite troubling. Zhu Guangqi could tell Hung Ran didn't have any intentions of protecting Yemo. He cared about Dong and laughed. I came here and happened to encounter Immortal Friend Hung. If City Lord Zhu wants to get revenge from someone, then please do. I won't say anything nor intervene. Hung Ran said, even if an elder of the Hung God corner offended City Lord Zhu, I won't dare to say anything if City Lord Zhu wants to kill. Zhu Guangqi quickly got up and saluted with his fists. Thank you, Castle Master Dong. Thank you, Immortal Friend Hung. He was waiting for this. If it wasn't for the Mu Hua God Mountain, he could slap Yemo to pieces. Yemo, it took me a long time to find you. I've stationed people out everywhere, and now I've finally found you today. I hope you don't disappoint me. Zhu Guangqi said. Hung Ran's face suddenly changed. City Lord Zhu, Immortal Friend Yi, is a VIP of our Hung God corner. Is the person you're looking for Immortal Friend Yi? This, Yemo saw Hung Ran's face and felt disgusted. His act was so revolting. Zhu Guangqi frowned. Immortal Friend Hung, you agreed before. Are you going to regret now? Hung Ran clenched his fists and sighed. After a while, sigh, never mind. Immortal Friend Yi is a VIP of our Hung God corner. Please, how could Zhu Guangqi not know that Hung Ran was putting on a show? Perhaps this guy wanted Yemo dead more than himself. He said calmly, of course, I will take Immortal Friend Hung into account. Don't worry. Yemo, this is someone else's guest hall. It would affect people talking here. Why don't we go out to resolve things? Zhu Guangqi said, what thing are you? How dare you let Tower Master go out? Fu Fei couldn't take it and pointed at Zhu Guangqi's nose and asked, a mere immortal emperor middle stage dares to talk. Zhu Guangqi sneered and grabbed at Fu Fei. Yemo suddenly got up and grabbed too. Clap! Zhu Guangqi's punch was slapped by Yemo's palm. Zhu Guangqi retreated a few steps before standing still. He looked at Yemo with uncertainty, not knowing what was going on. Zhu, I hate trouble, and although I really wanted to kill you, I didn't want to go find you. I didn't expect you to be so understanding to come to me. In that case, look at my strike. Then, Yi Mo hacked Shatterspace down. In that instant, everywhere was filled with this extremely intense lethal force, except where Qing Ru and them stood. A twisted sword rune appeared like a poisonous dragon that attacked at Zhu Guangqi. When Zhu Guangqi found that Yi Mo's twisted sword rune was a top-level god art, the rune already completely locked onto him. Zhu Guangqi knew now that Yi Mo definitely wasn't a mortal emperor, but a divine emperor who might even be stronger than him. He released a water light that barely sealed his surroundings. Rumble! Divine emperor domains clashed, and Zhu Guangqi's domain crumbled like an egg. Thud! The twisted sword rune fell and sliced across Zhu Guangqi's broken domain and onto his water light. The light was like a bowl that was filled with water and then broken. It exploded everywhere. This was far from the end. Powerful god essence exploded, and the palace was turned to pieces by this explosion. A few weaker people of the Hung God Corner was sent flying by the concussion. Hung Wanman was an immortal emperor, but even she spat blood in mid-air. Yi Mo didn't have any environmental protection awareness fighting here. It seemed like he didn't know this palace was destroyed. At the same time, he used Shatterspace Fist Force. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2121, Not a Rush to Piss Off. Chapter 2121, Not a Rush to Piss Off the Water Light was released too hastily and couldn't completely stop Yi Mo's falling mark sword rune. The sword rune sliced from Zhu Guangqi's shoulder. Half of his body flew off. Castle Master Dong, save me, Zhu Guangqi said, Dong, and set up a barrier around himself. Those explosion essence chi were blocked by the barrier, but he acted as though he didn't see this rooftop being opened. He said slowly, I said before City Lord Zhu attacked that I wouldn't be helping either sides. I'm a man of my words. Immortal friend Hung, Zhu Guangqi immediately looked at Hung Ran and barely released his water light again. Thud! These were Zhu Guangqi's last 3 words. His water light exploded before he released it, and his body was turned to bloody mist by Yi Mo's space lethal force. The next moment, Yi Mo took a storage ring and appeared back on his seat. The group sat in this open sky palace, but no one dared to speak now. Other than those who knew Yi Mo, everyone in the Hung God Corner were scared by Yi Mo's attack. Yi Mo killed a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor in just about 10 seconds. That Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor City Lord who was about to get revenge for Yi Mo didn't have anything left of him after 10 seconds. Yi Mo looked at Hung Ran and said, You're the strongest at Hung God Comer? I accidentally blew up your guest palace roof. It's fine, small matter. If the old doesn't go, the new won't come. I'll just build a new guest palace. From the looks of it, Yi Mo really killed the Du Ting God sect leader alone. Hung Ran definitely wouldn't doubt that Yi Mo dared to annihilate his Hung God Comer. But Yi Mo didn't care and said with a sunken face, You're fine with it, but I'm not. I told you before. I came to look for trouble. I've already killed one. I don't mind killing more. Yi Mo knew the survival laws here. If he didn't have power, he would have long been killed. If he had this power and still acted timidly, people would look down on him. Hung Ran sighed. What was to come eventually came. He didn't even think about asking for help from Dong'an. He knew the two were much closer. If Tower Master Yi has anything, just make an order. If anything from the Hung God Corner offended Tower Master Yi, I will definitely not let them go. Then Hung Ran palmed down, and the Tao Molding Divine Emperor who wanted to attack Yi Mo was palmed out a few thousand meters. Seeing that Tao Molding Divine Emperor spit blood mid-air, people knew that Hung Ran didn't hold back. Yi Mo didn't even look at Hung Ran's act and just looked at Neo Runin's mother. I'm friends with Runin, and I saw her on the way. I heard you were kept here by force, and they robbed your heaven fate, Tao fruit. Is that so?" Hearing this, Hung Ran's face changed. He finally realized why Yemo came to here. Yemo came for the heaven fate, Tao fruit. He definitely wouldn't believe Yemo came to save Neo Runin and her mother. Realizing this, Hung Ran stared at the two other Tao Nourishment Divine Emperors and asked, "What is this?" If it was someone else standing up for the mother and daughter, this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor would dare to bullshit, but he saw Yemo's power clearly. If he dared to tell any lies, he would be immediately killed. Realizing this, he got up and said, "Because we knew that Runin and her mother got a Tao fruit, so we had bad intentions. We know we were severely wrong to do this, and we're willing to give the greatest compensation, embarrassment. The Tao actualization, divine, emperor cursed. If he really got the heaven fate, Tao fruit, he might have the chance to reach Tao essence, divine emperor, but now Yemo knew about this." Neo Runin got up and said, "The Tao fruit isn't on us. It was taken by a Tao nourishment, divine emperor. That Tao nourishment, divine emperor, then purposely spilled the chi of the fruit to make us the scapegoat." Neo Runin's mother quickly added, "That Tao fruit was indeed taken away, and I have some impression of that person." Hearing this, Yemo knew that she didn't dare to say who took it before. This meant that the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was quite possibly here. "Tell me, even if you think that Hung Ran took it, no one would dare to touch you," Yemo said coldly, facing Yemo's extreme condescension. Hung Ran was extremely furious, but he didn't dare to attack. Yemo said this because he wanted to annihilate the Hung God Corner, but haven't found an excuse yet. Neo Chinya pointed at the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, who didn't speak, and said, "I don't believe I'm wrong, it's him." "Bullshit! I never even saw the heaven fate, Tao fruit." This Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor said. This was no joke. If he pissed off Yemo, he would lose his life. Hung Ran's face sunk, and he looked at the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. "Genjia, be honest. Did you take the heaven fate Tao fruit?" "Grand Sect Leader, it's definitely not me," the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor said without hesitation. Neo Chinya was experienced. She knew that she had to be firm with her ground. She got up and said without hesitation, "I have a power, and that is if I touch any man, I would never forget his chi." Neo Runin's face was red hearing this. She knew that her mother was quite promiscuous and had been with many men. So, she was very sensitive to men's chi. Yemo didn't think about that. He knew that after reaching Immortal Emperor, people almost had no smell on them, only chi. Genjia was extremely furious and wanted to accuse Neo Chinya. Then he felt a powerful twisted ripple fall from the sky that completely locked onto him. Great primordial god rune. Genjia was scared soulless at this moment. The ferocious name of the great primordial god rune was too great, and now the great primordial god rune appeared in the Hung God Corner. In that instant, he wanted to run away by force, but Yemo's great primordial god rune was tens of times stronger than before. His body was locked by the lethal force of the great primordial god rune, and that twisted space still sliced across his arm. The next moment, his arm appeared before Yemo, and Yemo pulled off a storage ring by force. That arm was thrown on the ground like hay. Hung Rail's fury was completely quenched by that great primordial god rune. He only had endless terror. Yemo had the great god, art, great primordial god rune. Such ferocious god rune wasn't something he could deal with. He was certain that if he fought Yemo, even if he wasn't instantly killed, he would definitely die. Just who was this Yemo? He was too terrifying. Hung Ran just wanted to send Yemo out as quickly as possible. Yemo wasn't something they could take on. As for joining up with the Shui Yun God City against Yemo, he gave up this idea after seeing great primordial god rune. Yemo's spirit sense blades, quickly broke the storage ring restriction and took out a jade box. When he opened it, there was a yellow Dao fruit sitting in the middle. Heaven Fate Dao fruit. Almost everyone recognized this. Jianjia's face went terrifyingly pale. Bastard, piss off. Hung Ran seemed extremely furious and palmed Jianjia, who flew out. But halfway, he was punched back by Yemo. Not a rush. Let's sort things out first. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-22, Yemo's Character. Chapter 21-22, Yemo's character. Hung Ran was scared of Yemo immediately killing Jianjia and wanted to slap him away, but Yemo dragged Jianjia back. Now even Dong and said nothing. Although he knew that Yemo killed the sect leader of Du Ting God sect and was probably a bit stronger than him, he didn't really mind. He believed that even if he was no match for Yemo, he could run away. But now that he saw Yemo's great god art, great primordial god rune, he immediately knew that if he fought with Yemo, he probably wouldn't be able to get away from the great primordial god rune. When one reached a higher level with the great primordial god rune, it could not long seal space, twist space, but even lock and twist realms. The name of this ferocious god art was too terrifying. Now he thought of the great primordial god rune Dao fruit Yemo gave him. He immediately knew that it wasn't that Yemo didn't need it. It was either Yemo had too much, or he wanted to know about the void marketplace too much. Tower Mastery. This is the fault of the Hung God Corner. It's right for you to be angry. We're willing to be completely responsible for this. Then he came up to Neo Chinya and saluted with his fists immortal friend Chinya. This is the fault of the Hung God Corner. We're willing to make compensations. Neo Chinya breathed easy. Regardless, with Yemo here, they would no longer be locked up at the Hung God Corner. Yemo was rude to Hung God Comer, but she didn't dare to be like that. She quickly returned the favor. No need for compensation. I just want to leave here with Runin. I just hope the Hung God Comer won't look for our trouble in the future. Hung Ran rejoiced, but before he could talk, Yemo sneered. If you leave so easily, then aren't you too easily abused? Runin! Neo Runin got up and said, Marshal brother Yi, I've been taken care of by the young mistress, and I owe her a lot. This can be let go. Oh. Yemo glanced at Hung Wan Man, who didn't dare to talk. You've already paid her back at the Mu Hua God Mountain. Hung Wanman's face looked bad. Even though she knew that Neo Runin left Hung God Corner due to what happened at the Mu Hua God Mountain, but when it was spoken out, it was something else. Yemo said to Hung Ran, if you mess with me, I wouldn't be so easy to talk to. But since Runin is willing to let it go, then never mind. Compensate however much you need to compensate. Hearing this, Hung Ran quickly took out 2 storage ring and gave it to the 2. This is a small gift. Please don't reject it. The 2 knew that with Yemo here, they wouldn't be able to reject it, so they took it. Yemo gave the jade box to Neo Chinya. This is your Heaven Fate Dao fruit. It's returned to you. How could she take it? Neo Chinya quickly said, Tower Mastery. We don't dare to take it, and we can't take it. Thank you for helping us. It's yours. Yemo didn't hesitate and took it. Okay, in that case, let's go. Dong and Hung Ran weren't surprised that Yemo took the Heaven Fate Dao fruit. Hung Ran wanted Yemo to go, but he could still only say it was our honor for Tower Master Yi to arrive at the Hung God Corner. Dong got up and said, Thank you for your treat, immortal friend Hung. I'll be leaving with Tower Master Yi. Farewell. Outside the Hung God Corner, Dong and saluted with his fists. Immortal friend Yi, I'll be off now. I'm about to go to the God Necropolis domain to prepare to break through to Tao Essence Divine Emperor. I believe you're going to the Void Marketplace, right? Perhaps we will meet again there. Yemo saluted with his fists. Then good luck on reaching Tao Essence Divine Emperor soon, but it's not easy to come out of the God Necropolis domain after going in. Dong and didn't explain how to come out. He just said a few more words and left. 3 months later, the space-time boat passed a new divine Tao city. Neo Rinin and her mother left the boat and said goodbye. Yemo let them go and dashed off on the space-time boat. We were lucky for Martial Brother Yi. If it wasn't for him, we probably couldn't leave the Hung God corner. Neo Rinin sighed. Neo Chinya sighed. Rinin, your friend, is really good. He helped us a lot. Martial Brother Yi is a very nice person. He would rather suffer a loss himself than let friends suffer a loss. Neo Rinin said. Neo Chinya patted Neo Rinin's shoulder. Rinin, Tower Master Yi is indeed a good person, but not someone who would rather take a loss for himself. You've seen two little people. The men I've seen. Mum, can you mention something else you've seen? Neo Rinin frowned. Her mother was much prettier, but she really didn't like her promiscuity. Plus, Martial Brother Yi is indeed a good person. If he isn't nice, there are no nice people in the world. Okay. Neo Chinya saw that Neo Rinin was sided with Yi Mo and stopped. She hesitated before saying, if Tower Master Yi is really the type of person you said him to be, he wouldn't take the Heaven Fate Tao fruit. Of course, even if he did take it, his character is the best I've seen. Neo Rinin frowned. He gave it to you, but you didn't want it. Plus, what do we need that Tao fruit for? Neo Chinya poked Neo Rinin's head with her finger. You idiot. What use is the Heaven Tao fruit for? Tao vindication, of course. We have so many God crystals and cultivation resources now. You would soon be able to reach Immortal Emperor Peak stage, and then you can use the Tao fruit to vindicate Tao. If the Tao fruit is left with Martial Brother Yi, it would have greater use. Neo Rinin said, let's not take about this. We'll go to the city and rent a cultivation home and start solitary cultivation. It's a waste not to use these things. Neo Chinya said, okay, Neo Rinin took out a jade box from the storage ring. Isn't this the jade box for Heaven Fate Tao fruit? Neo Rinin was shocked. Don't open it. Neo Chinya was experienced and quickly took the box. Before her spirit sense went in, she saw the words, Rinin, you got this Tao fruit, now I give it back to you. Vindicate Tao quickly. Neo Rinin immediately said, since when did brother you put the box in my storage ring? How come I didn't know? Put it away quickly. After Neo Rinin put the box away, Neo Chinya sighed, it seems I'm wrong this time. That Tower Master Yi is really the type of person you said he was. If I knew it, how can I not know Martial Brother Ye's character? He wouldn't care about a Tao fruit. Neo Rinin said. Neo Chinya sighed, I thought wrong of him. The reason he took it and then gave it back to us was because he was scared people would come after us. I've met so many men. How come I didn't meet Tower Master Yi? If I was with him then... Mom, can you stop being so embarrassing? Neo Rinin's face went red and she left. Yemo was flying faster and faster. Dong and Jade Slip said he needed to leave the Divine Tao realm and enter the Void to find the Void marketplace. You couldn't leave the realm from anywhere. Even though the Divine Tao realm was broken, it was still boundless. The direction towards the Void marketplace was set. If you missed the point, then even with the location disk, you wouldn't be able to find the right location. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-23, Yemo, Meet with Bingyu. Chapter 21-23, Yemo, Meet with Bingyu, Golden Immortal, Primary Stage. Yemo opened her eyes in joy. She put away her Immortal Carnage Tower and Formation Disc before walking out of a distant valley. Ever since she was scared by that 9-headed void-devouring bug, she didn't dare to go out. She had been hiding in distant places. Yimo, like Yemo, grew up from all kinds of fights. She knew the hardship of cultivation and knew survival was hard. If it wasn't that 100 kilometers dark red beam that drove away the 9-headed void-devouring bug, she would probably be dead. Feeling the danger of the immortal realm, she chose to go into solitary cultivation immediately. She collected more than 100 storage ring in the Bingqiong Immortal City. She got large amounts of immortal crystals and immortal artifact from inside, as well as all sorts of immortal pill. Due to these things, she was able to reach Golden Immortal primary stage in such a short time. The things she collected were far from being used up. Yimo released a low-grade flying immortal artifact and was ready to find a place with people to ask about Yimo. She had never seen an immortal she could talk to after all these years of immortal ascension. A few days later, a huge immortal city appeared in Yimo's spirit sense again. Yimo had never seen such a grand city. The 4 words by Immortal City hung high in the clouds. Many immortals were going in and out of the city. This name was really good, Yimo thought as she landed at the city gates. When she got to the door, she was dazed. At the city gates, there was a purple gold statue that was taller than the city, and the statue was her father Yimo. Next to the statue were some immortal essence words. Yimo, Grand Emperor's Immortal Ascension City. There was a very precise introduction. After Yimo ascended from the cultivation realm, the first city he came to was the Bai Immortal City. There was even his old residence. It was written by the one Jew Heaven, Lord Gobaiwan. Although in her heart her dad was the strongest person in the world, but she knew that was just what her thought. In fact, she knew her father was much stronger than many people. When she saw this statue, she knew that if her dad wasn't strong, there was no way he would be made into a statue here. Yimo became excited. If Dad's statue was here, then it wouldn't be hard to find him. You know him. A voice suddenly appeared next to Yimo. Of course. Yimo subconsciously answered. Then she realized things weren't right. She knew no one here. She subconsciously turned around and saw a blue-robed woman who was slightly taller than her. She wore a blue veil on her face, but Yimo was shocked. Even though she hadn't seen this woman's beauty, she felt amazed from the bottom of her heart. Yimo was extremely pretty-looking herself, but she knew she wasn't as good-looking as Susu and Auntie Qingxue. This woman made her feel that just in terms of looks, even Auntie Susu was not as beautiful as her. Yet, she hadn't even seen how this woman looked. But then she shook her head. It must be a wrong feeling. The blue-robed woman frowned and sighed at the bottom of her heart. Why does every pretty woman know him? Qianbei, I'll be going in the city first. Yimo said. She felt this blue-robed goddess was countless times stronger than her. Even if she was to ask for her dad's whereabouts, she wouldn't ask this Qianbei. The blue-robed woman smiled. Let's go in the city together. I'm Jin Bingyu. Don't call me Qianbei anymore. Just call me sister. Yimo dazed, but she quickly reacted and said, Yes, Sister Bingyu, I'm Yimo. Yimo, your surname is Yi? Zhan Bingyu subconsciously looked at Yimo's statue and asked Yimo, What relationship are you with Brother Yi? Brother Yi? Yimo immediately realized that this Qianbei knew her dad. She was speechless. She thought the same. Why did every pretty woman she met knew her dad? Yes, Sister Bingyu, Yimo is my dad. I just ascended to the mortal realm, and I'm planning to find my dad. Yimo said, What, you're Yimo's daughter? Zhan Bingyu looked at Yimo in disbelief, but she soon calmed down. This was normal. If Yimo was willing to be with her at the time, maybe their daughter would be this old. Perhaps she would have a son with Yimo. Sister Bingyu, do you know my father? Yimo asked. She then saw Zhan Bingyu blush a little and immediately knew that she must have some special relationship with her dad. Oh, yes, I'm Brother Ye's friend. Is your mum Su Jingwen? Zhen Bingyu asked. Yimo immediately asked in joy, Sister Bingyu, you know Auntie Jean Gwen? Where is she? Hearing this, Zhen Bingyu immediately knew that Yimo wasn't Su Jingwen's daughter. This meant that Yi Mo had other wives. Zhen Bingyu felt a little bitter and pulled Yimo's hand. Yimo, let's go find a place to stay in the city and talk. Sister Bingyu, no wonder my dad is friends with you. Yimo felt that Zhen Bingyu didn't have any condescension. Zhen Bingyu smiled and didn't explain. She wasn't like this when she first met Yi Mo. She changed due to Yi Mo every time she felt lonely. She would think of the time she was with Yi Mo. That was the happiest moments of her life. If time could flow back, she would rather stay with Yi Mo or get carried by him. She searched for higher states and been to many places over the years, but she had never met someone like Yi Mo. Perhaps there were, but Yi Mo was unique to her now. In an immortal rest tower, Yimo saw Zhen Bingyu's looks and was amazed. Sister Bingyu, you're really pretty. Zhen Bingyu smiled. Yimo, you're very pretty too. To me, looks is just a skin bag. I don't care about it much. Zhen Bingyu then started to tell Yimo about Yi Mo and Mou immortal sect. She told Yimo everything she knew. Sister Bingyu, you're saying that Beiwei and Auntie Jingwen are all at Mou immortal sect? My dad went to the god Necropolis domain. Yimo felt sad. She didn't get to see her dad. Yes, your dad went to the god Necropolis domain, but it's not easy to get there. Only immortal emperors can get to the god Necropolis domain. The god Necropolis domain is much more dangerous than the immortal realm. It's boundless, and even immortal emperors are insects there. These words made Yimo gasp. She wasn't just a newly ascended noob anymore. From the jade slips in the storage rings, she knew the cultivation levels of the immortal realm. She even derived her own cultivation method to Golden Immortal. Immortal Emperor was the highest status immortal being, but in Sister Bingyu's words, they were insects in the god Necropolis domain. Wouldn't Dad be in danger to go to the god Necropolis domain? Sister Bingyu, my dad is only immortal emperor cultivation level. Wouldn't it be dangerous for him to go to god Necropolis domain? Yimo asked. Zhen Bingyu smiled. Yimo, don't worry. He's different to ordinary people. I know him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-24 Border of the Divine Tao Realm. Chapter 21-24 Border of the Divine Tao Realm. Hearing this, Yimo finally felt more assured. She really wanted to ask if Zhen Bingyu was husband and wife relationship with her dad, but she felt she shouldn't ask such things. She would go back to Mou Immortal Sect and asked Auntie Jingwen. Mou Immortal Sect Su Jingwen and Tang Beiwei are now at the Chaos Star Realm. If you go to Mou Immortal Sect, you probably can't find them. Zhen Bingyu said. She could tell Yimo wanted to go find them first. Zhen Bingyu didn't go to the Mou Immortal Sect, but she cared a lot about the news there, especially people related to Yi Mo. Where is the Chaos Star Realm? Yimo asked. It's a place for trial that can allow people to break through quickly, especially body refinement. Zhen Bingyu spoke as she thought of the time she cultivated body refinement with Yi Mo. Sister Bingyu, I want to go there too. I want to hurry up and reach Immortal Emperor and go find my dad. Yimo said. Zhen Bingyu looked dazedly at Yimo. When Yi Mo went, he was at least Golden Immortal Middle Stage, but now Yi Mo was only Golden Immortal Primary Stage. But she soon said, okay, I'll go alone with you. I'll teach you body refinement and take you to dig immortal crystals. She thought of the times Yi Mo carried her to dig immortal crystals. Although she didn't care about those immortal crystals, she still remembered this. Only she and Yi Mo knew of that place, and she had been there more than once. Every time she went to the Chaos Star Realm, she would go to the places she had been with Yi Mo. Ha! Yimo was shocked. She knew that usually someone as powerful as Zhan Bingyu couldn't go with a golden immortal primary stage to a place for trial. Wouldn't that waste too much of your time? Yimo asked. ZBYS smiled. No, brother, ye cultivated body refinement with me and dug immortal crystals with me. Now I'll go with you, Sister Bingyu, cultivated body refinement together. Yimo realized. Zhan Bingyu's face froze for a moment and knew she said the wrong things. What did cultivating body refinement together mean? Most body refinement meant you were naked. She didn't care about this before as she only pursued Tao, but now she did. Seeing Zhan Bingyu's awkward face, Yimo quickly said, Sister Bingyu, then come with me. You can teach me body refinement. Of course. My body refinement cultivation method came from Brother Yi. Now I'll just give it back to you. Zhan Bingyu said. Seeing Zhan Bingyu's extremely beautiful face, Yimo sighed. If this was on Earth, this was unimaginable. Yi Mo didn't know about Yimo meeting with Zhan Bingyu. He was answering some of Fu Fei's cultivation questions. Fu Fei progressed very fast with Yi Mo's tutelage. Going to the divine Tao realm border wasn't a matter of a day or two. Even with Yi Mo's middle-grade flying god artifact, it would take a few years. Fu Fei went back to cultivation after asking questions. Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan state was low and they had the best cultivation resources, so Yi Mo suggested them to stay in the Golden Page world. Yi Mo separated the chaos qi of the Golden Page world. Fu Fei and them knew Yi Mo's Golden Page world wasn't simple, but they didn't think it was a chaos world. They all thought it was a truth spirit world. With the God Spirit range, powered spirit gathering formation, and large amounts of resources, everyone's cultivation speed was fast except for Shadowless and Xiaorang. Ever since Shadowless could speak, Yi Mo tried to stop it from devouring Essence Spirit. It could help speed up his progression, but Yi Mo knew there were side effects to this. Those divine Emperor Essence Spirits he killed were impure. The more Shadowless devoured, the more damage it did to him. Essence Spirit and Emperor Tao Crystal was different. One couldn't simply devour it. In order to make Shadowless evolve, he would need to use real treasures or find energy that has no self-will. Yi Mo flew the space-time boat while practicing forgery at the front. To him, forgery or pill concoction or even traveling was a type of cultivation. Divine Emperor and Immortal Emperor were two completely different levels. Immortal Emperors needed large amounts of cultivation resources and mastery of God art, but Divine Emperor not only needed cultivation resources, but also understanding of Tao. No matter which Tao you choose, the Tao you vindicate determines the height you reach. Even if you break through a small bit, you would need to have a deep understanding of your Tao. Yi Mo didn't use Tao fruit, nor God art law to vindicate Tao. He severed all sorts of useless laws and God arts, and eventually used the chaos world to fuse his body with chaos and vindicate the chaos Tao. Through that, he then came back to perfect his chaos world. Because he used himself as the Tao foundation, he could learn anything in any world to perfect his Tao. Time flew by. 6 years later, the space-time boat was near the border of the divine Tao realm. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned to some buildings. Yi Mo thought that the realm border to the void marketplace would be very barren, but when he came here, he realized this wasn't the case. There was actually quite some people. Yi Mo sloughed down the space-time boat. Fu Fei woke up now. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned the Golden Page world and found that Qingru had reached Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary stage. Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan both didn't use time formation disc. Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan came out of the Golden Page world. Yi Mo wasn't sure if people went to the void marketplace from here, so he called everyone out to prevent people knowing he had a truth spirit world. People could live in the small world and cultivation homes, but no one would stay there for long-term cultivation. If these people suddenly appeared, it would make people suspicious. Yi-Mo landed from the space-time boat and immediately caught people's attention. Those who came here were without a doubt going to the Void Marketplace. Dong and said it was usually Tao, Nourishment Divine Emperors who went to the Void Marketplace, but Yi-Mo saw many immortal emperors here. There were even some immortal monarchs. There was not a single great eternity immortal like Qing Ru, but soon Yi-Mo understood what Dongan meant. Although there were immortal emperor and immortal monarchs here, they were clearly with Tao actualization divine emperors. The reason this group caught attention was that the strongest of them was Yi-Mo, who seemed to only be immortal emperor power. Immortal emperor taking a great eternity immortal to the Void Marketplace? This was a huge joke. For friends, have you come to find people or find a place to stay? A cunning-looking immortal emperor middle stage came up to them. To him, Yi-Mo and them were definitely not going to the Void Marketplace, but here to meet up with Sek Chien Bais. No, we want to enter the Void from here and go to the Void Marketplace. Yi-Mo said, What? Not only was this immortal emperor middle stage shocked, but everyone else nearby. 2 immortal emperors, 1 immortal monarch, and a great eternity immortal was going to the Void Marketplace? This was suicide. You guys are going to the Void Marketplace? This immortal emperor asked. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-25 Long Time Queuing Up. Chapter 21-25 Long Time Queuing Up. Yi-Mo could only repeat yes. We're going to the Void Marketplace. The immortal emperor finally realized that he didn't hear wrong and said, Did you book a spot? Book spot? Yi-Mo asked in confusion and said, We're going to fly over ourselves. We didn't book. The immortal emperor middle stage realized that Yi-Mo and them knew nothing. He said speechlessly, The lowest requirement to the Void Marketplace middle grade Flying God artifact was before. Now, it's very hard to go to the Void Marketplace alone. The immortal emperor looked at the 3 behind Yi-Mo and shook his head. Yi-Mo could tell that the news he got from Dong and was a little different from reality. Seeing this immortal emperor about to leave, he quickly asked immortal friend, May I ask why it can't be done anymore? This immortal emperor was a nice person and explained because the Void Realm to the Void Marketplace isn't very stable. Ordinary flying magic artifact would dissemble mid-flight. Only large vessels could stay intact in this void. This was before. Now, there are void pirates on the way to the Void Marketplace. They knew that the people heading to the Void Marketplace had many good things, so they robbed people on the way. If you go to the Void Marketplace alone, then even if you get close to the Void Marketplace, you would die for sure. Yi-Mo realized what he meant and knew that Dong didn't lie to him. Dong went to the Void many tens of millenniums ago. At that time, the Void pirates weren't that strong. Plus, Dong was from the Great Sun God Mountain. They probably had an extremely powerful flying magic artifact. Dong didn't say this probably because he thought that he was a pill divine and it wouldn't be hard for him to get on. Then why are these people here? Yi-Mo pointed at the people going to and fro. The immortal emperor laughed. There aren't many ships flying to the Void Marketplace. There are limited spots too. There would be a vessel once every 100 years. These immortal friends are lining up for the ship. Lining up for 100 years? This is so long. Mu Xiaoyan took in a cold breath. How much longer till the ship comes? Yi-Mo asked. 2 more years. If you really want to go to the Void Marketplace, you would have quite some luck on the ship. The immortal emperor smiled. Yi-Mo sighed. Indeed, since there's only 2 years, we'll order tickets too. Thank you, immortal friend. The immortal emperor's face was a little awkward. Immortal friend. By 2 years, I meant the ship that's about to head to the Void Marketplace. The tickets were sold out a few decades ago. If you want to buy tickets, you would have to order tickets for the ship 102 years later. Line up for 102 years. Yi-Emo sighed. The immortal emperor shook his head and didn't answer. This wasn't very long. Soon, it would be lining up for 200 years. The demand for tickets to the Void Marketplace was increasing. Who could be sure people wouldn't mass buy tickets and resell them? Yi-Emo knew that going to the Void Marketplace wasn't as simple as he had thought, so he saluted with his fists to this immortal emperor, immortal friend. Do you know if there's a mortal rest tower here? We need some rest. There are. What sort of rooms do you want? A low-grade room costs 500 top-grade god crystals a day. Middle-grade room costs 1,000 top-grade god crystals. Top-grade costs 5,000 top-grade god crystals, and small ginseng costs 10,000 top-grade god crystals. The immortal emperor's face went bright hearing there was business. Yi-Emo took in a cold breath. This price was too absurd. How much would 1 year be? How much would 10 years be? Was this robbery? Were all the people here that wealthy? How come no one was living outside the buildings? As though seeing Yi-Emo's confusion, this immortal emperor explained, those who bought the ticket would live in this area. You guys haven't bought the tickets, so you don't have to stay here, but I suggest that you stay here. It would be much safer. Yi-Emo nodded. He understood that the large area of buildings here weren't for free. It was made to serve the people heading to the Void Marketplace and to earn their wealth. According to this immortal emperor, there seemed to be danger if you didn't stay here. Although the price here was very high, Yi-Emo could afford it now. So he said to this immortal emperor, "Give me 3 middle-grade rooms." "Huh!" This immortal emperor was a little stunned, but then he said happily, "Okay, follow me." He thought the 4 of them would at most stay in the same low-grade room together, but they were actually wealthy. Even some powers and sects only took middle-grade rooms. For weak immortals, not only lived in middle-grade rooms, but didn't have a sect to back them up. This immediately spread out. Yi-Emo didn't know about this. He stayed in here not to wait for the ship, but to see if he could buy some materials and upgrade his space-time boat again. Even if he couldn't upgrade speed, he would upgrade defenses. Of course, he also wanted to see if there were people who wanted to sell their tickets. Yi-Emo did think that Immortal Emperor was bullshitting. In the void, he might encounter powerful beings from any realm. No matter how confident he was, he didn't think he could dominate all of the void between the realms. There definitely was Tao Essence Divine Emperor on the ship to the Void Marketplace, and maybe more than one. The middle grade room was pricey, but the god spirit chi here was ample. There were all sorts of immortal spirit, tea, and wine. Of course, that would come at extra costs. Stay in room and cultivate. I'll go down and have a look. Yi-Emo said to Mu Xiaoyun and them. Now, Fu Fei had a room. Qingru had a room while Yi-Emo shared a room with Mu Xiaoyun. Yi-Emo learned that although there were a lot of buildings here, all shops belonged to powers here. There were a lot of immortals living in this row of immortal rest tower, and at the very bottom was a lounge. There were people coming in and out doing deals, discussing cultivation and resolving conflict. Yi-Emo was going to this lobby now. He needed to find out some news. If he really couldn't upgrade space-time boat and couldn't buy a ticket off someone, he would go into the void alone. He had to go to the void, and he wasn't willing to wait another 100 years. Yi-Emo saw here that although there were a lot of people, it wasn't noisy. There were sound barrier restrictions set up everywhere. In the middle of the lobby, there was a round sign spinning. It wrote what was needed and what was rewarded. Immortal friend, do you want to put up a sign? If you do, I can help you. An extremely pleasant voice sounded. Yi-Emo saw a pretty-looking woman and immediately said, "Yes, I want to write out my needs on the sign. I need top materials to forge flying magic artifact. Second, I need 4 tickets towards to the Void Marketplace for the ship 2 years later. Put this at an obvious place. The reward is..." Yi-Emo hesitated and said, "Those who wants god crystals, we can discuss in person. Yemo wanted to say Dao fruit. He had one, but he gave up this thought. This wasn't Luinlon divine Dao City. Even if he said he only had one who knew what consequences would arise, his cultivation level wasn't the strongest here. Yemo saw that in this 1,000-people lobby, there were tens of Dao actualization divine emperors. Although there were no Dao essence divine emperor, this was still very scary. Okay, if it's headline, then it costs 50K top-grade god crystals for a day. The pretty woman said, so expensive. But Yemo could only give her 100K god crystals. Please be seated at 764. We'll immediately put the sign up for you. The pretty woman said, if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2126. The Thing Yemo Took O. Chapter 2126. The thing Yemo took OU, although it was just a seat, it was quite a good position and had a table. There were seats on all sides of the table. Yemo was very happy with this. Yemo just sat for a while, and Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan came to the lobby. Their cultivation level was too weak and didn't dare to scan around with spirit sense. They only dared to look around for Yemo in the lobby. Mu Xiaoyan was extremely pretty and cultivated for many years at the Immortal Goddess Peak and became even prettier. Qingru even surpassed Mu Xiaoyan. Her perfect body was unique to this world. As soon as they stood in the lobby, they caught many attention. Two goddesses. I'm Feng Yingui from the Sangyu God Valley. May I ask if I can help you? One Dao molding divine emperor saw the two and immediately came up. Qingru smiled. Thank you, Qian Bei, but we don't need your help. Xiaoyan, Qingru, come here. Yemo got up and called. The two immediately came over happily, leaving behind Feng Yingui, who was going to keep talking. Seeing these two pretty goddesses go over to an immortal emperor, he frowned but didn't go over and instead found a position in the lobby. Brother, why are you seated here? Qingru saw the lobby was filled with thousands of people who were all stronger than her. She felt worried. Sit, I bought some things here. Then Yemo took out a wine kettle and a few cups, pouring a cup for them. This is weed immortal wine, small ginseng made it. Try it. Yemo raised a cup and smiled. Qingru smelled this and couldn't resist drinking. Then she said in surprise and joy, Brother Yi, this wine seemed to be able to help with cultivation. Yemo nodded. This was made with corner soul weed and blue plum, as well as many top-level immortal spirit herbs. How could it not be good? It could cleanse essence spirit and immortal essence. Mu Xiaoyan had drank it many times but still loved it. She pointed at the round sign and asked, Husband, is the first sign what we're going to buy? MHM. I paid for 2 days of advertisement here. I'll see how it goes first. Yemo thought that if he could get the materials, he would stay here for a year or two and forge flying magic artifact. If he couldn't, he would take them into the void in a few days. Brother Yi, the ticket might not be easy to buy. Qingru saw the sign, wrote 4 tickets. I know, I'm only testing my luck. Yemo said, Good wine. Your wine is probably made from blue plum and Comer soul weed, right? The manufacturing process is immaculate, definitely from the hands of a master. As they spoke, a red-faced man walked up to Yemo's seat and saluted with his fists. This was a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor Peak stage. Just from his red face, one could see he had drunk a lot of wine. He just smelled the wine and knew of its components. He was definitely a wine lover. If Yemo had the time, he would invite this person to drink, but now Yemo didn't plan to. Seeing Yemo just smile and not talk, this Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor didn't go and laughed. Immortal friend, I heard you set up the first news, but even if you keep it up there till next year, no one would come to you. If you listen to me, I'm certain people would come to you in a while. Xiaoyan, come sit next to me. let this immortal friend sit. Yi-mo said. Mu Xiaoyan quickly sat next to Yi-mo. Seeing this, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor sat down and smiled. I'm Xian Yushue. I'm going to the Void Marketplace to test my luck too. Yi-mo took out a cup and poured him a wine and said, So, it's immortal friend Xinyu. I'm Yi-mo. I don't know much about going to the Void Marketplace. Please teach me. Qingru saw that Xian Yushue sat opposite her and quickly got up and sat on Yi-mo's right. Thank you, immortal friend Yi. Xian Yushue raised the wine cup and drank. Seeing Qingru sit next to Yi-mo, he raised his thumb. Immortal friend Yi, you have nice skills. But you might not know what the people who want to go to the Void Marketplace want. Those who are going there aren't lacking God crystals. It definitely won't work if you trade materials with God crystals. Yi-mo realized what the problem with his notice was now. He sighed. It seemed that if he didn't take out some good things, he really wouldn't be able to get the things he wanted. Thinking about this, Yi-mo said to the goddess, Change my reward. If one has the materials I want, I'm willing to use a near top-grade god artifact, Cheng Ji Extreme Yang Flag, or 7-star Huang Ji Will to trade for it. If there's top-level materials, I'm even willing to use more precious things to trade. Even Xian Yushue was dazed at the things Yi-mo took out. He didn't expect Yi-mo, an immortal emperor, to have this many good things. Immortal friend Yi, you really shock me. Pity, I don't have flying magic artifact materials, or I would take it out myself. Xian Yushue sighed and drank the cup. After that, Xian Yushue seemed to have thought of something and got up in shock. Immortal friend Yi, that Cheng Ji Extreme Yang Flag seems to belong to the sect leader of Du Ting God, sect Wei Xian. Yi-mo smiled. Brother Xian is really knowledgeable. You're right. Then why is it in your hands? Xian Yushue's hands were shaky. Clearly he was too shocked. Because I slaughtered him. Yi-mo said directly. Since he took out some good things, he would need to show his power. Otherwise he would be very annoyed. Xian Yushue's face showed extreme shock. Even his redness receded a little. He didn't expect this immortal friend Yi was this absurd. He didn't dare to stay here and drink. Before he could say goodbye, another coarse voice sounded. You want to use the Extreme Yang Flag and 7-star Huang Ji Well to trade flying magic artifact materials. The voice seemed as though if Yi-mo didn't answer right, he would attack immediately. The powerful force made Mu Xiaoyan and Qing Ru's face green. A few other divine emperors who were going to ask heard this voice and saw a green-robed old man come. They all subconsciously stopped. Yi-mo raised the cup and the pressure on Mu Xiaoyan and Qing Ru was easily waved away. After drinking the wine, Yi-mo said, Slowly. I have these two things, but I'm not trading for flying magic artifact materials, but flying magic artifact top materials. If you want my things, I would have to agree to the materials. If you want both of it, you would need to bring the right materials, or no deal. Ha 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 ha, a small immortal emperor is very cocky. The green-robed old man sat down on the empty space. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2127, Don't Know What Death Is. Chapter 2127, Don't Know What Death Is. Seeing this green-robed old man come over, Xian Yushue quickly got up and saluted with his fists before leaving. The old man didn't even seem to see Xian Yushue and glanced at Qing Ru and Mu Xiaoyan before his eyes lit up. He said plainly, Take out your things and show me. This was a Tao actualization divine Emperor peak stage who seemed even stronger than Wei Xian, but to Yi-mo, this old man wasn't that much stronger than Wei Xian. Yi-mo poured a cup of wine for himself and put away the kettle. He didn't pour a cup for the old man. Not only that, he finished his cup first before saying, This is my seat. Who are you? The old man sneered. You're very bold. That's right. You probably don't know who I am. Then I will tell you. Shintashinda is me. I have a title called Green Robe Divine. You're finished. You can go now. If this wasn't the lobby, Yi Emo would have shot 7 arrows at him and killed him. Hearing this, Shintashinda pointed at Yi Emo and said in disbelief, You're a mere immortal emperor, and you dare to tell me to go? I'll give you 3 seconds. Show me the Extreme Yang flag and 7-star Extreme Well. Yi Emo frowned. He didn't know if one could fight here. He wasn't scared of this Shintashinda, but if a Tao Essence Divine Emperor came, he would be no match. Why should I show you my things? Yi Emo sneered. Didn't you want flying magic artifact materials? I have plenty. Choose what you want. Shintashinda waved out materials on the seat. This seemed like a large pile, but they were all low-grade materials like Void, Secret Silver, Extreme Lightning Gold. There was even level 2 Immortal Material Blue Windstone. The highest material Extreme Lightning Gold could only be used to forge middle-grade Immortal Artifact. Yi Emo didn't expect this Shintashinda was this shameless. Yi Emo was ready to fight, but he didn't plan to attack first. If this Shintashinda attacked first, he would beat him to death. Yi Emo felt annoyed. If he was strong enough, he wouldn't need to care. He would just fight. Shintashinda, do you think you can do whatever you want at my ship god harbor just because you have some power? An angry voice sounded. Yi Emo saw it was a white-skinned, narrow-eyed skinny man. He was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage 2. Shintashinda saw this man and smiled. Manager Wenluin, you're being too serious. I'm just discussing business with this small friend. How can I cause trouble? It seems this friend isn't happy with what I took out. I'll change it up then. Then Shintashinda waved away these materials and took out a basketball-sized white ore and said, Little friend, what do you think Ofo this ore? Small ginseng truth cloud sand. The nearby people exclaimed. It was very white and had no impurities. It had this ethereal chi. Even those who didn't know forgery knew this was material for making the best flying magic artifact. Yi Emo's eyes narrowed. This was definitely what he wanted. It was level 12 immortal material. With this large piece, even if he couldn't make the space-time, boat top-grade flying god artifact, it wouldn't be far from it. The manager was also shocked too. This is small ginseng truth cloud sand. It's enough for you to make 2 top-grade flying magic artifact. Of course, if it's just trading your Extreme Yang flag and 7-star Extreme Well, I feel I'm losing. I don't know how much 7-star Extreme Well you have, but I believe it's not much. I won't be greedy. I'll just take the goddess on your right. Shintashinda pointed at Qingru. Yi Emo's killing intent exploded, and he said to Shintashinda, Piss off. You're asking to die. Shintashinda exploded too. Before he could attack, that manager said, coldly, What? Do you want to fight at the lobby? Shintashinda immediately calmed down. He knew people couldn't fight here. He grabbed his truth cloud, sand, and left. But he didn't leave the lobby, he just found another place to sit where he could see Yi Emo. The manager glanced at Yi Emo and said nothing before leaving. Yi Emo acted as though nothing happened and kept chatting to Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan while drinking. Feng Yingui saw that Yi Emo dared to tell the green robe divine to piss off. He got up and left. Xian Yuxiue was even more certain that Yi Emo killed Wei Xian to get the flag. Otherwise, how could he dare to speak to the green-robed divine like this? Perhaps due to Shintashinda, no one else came to Yi Emo for trouble. A day was about to pass. Yi Emo was very disappointed. No one else other than that Shintashinda came to him with materials. Just when Yi Emo was about to leave, a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Primary Stage Middle-Aged Man came up to Yi Emo and saluted with his fists, Immortal friend, I like your Extreme Yang flag. Do you think this can trade for it? He took out a storage bag. Yi Emo scanned inside. There was a red feather. Yi Emo's spirit sense touched it and he immediately felt a powerful yet light chi from it. Mo chi feather. Yi Mo immediately recognized it was a level 12 immortal material. This could be used to forge top-grade god artifact. It was on par with Shinto Shinda's Truth Cloud Sand. In terms of rarity, the feather was rarer. Sure. Yi Mo took the feather without hesitation and took out a black flag to the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor took the flag and scanned his spirit sense inside the restriction. His face rejoiced, and he put the flag away. He then saluted with his fists and left the lobby. Yi Mo was also very happy he got this. He knew there was no point in waiting anymore. He called that maid over and refunded 50k god crystals and took Mu Xiaoyan and Qing Ru to his room. After coming in, Yi Mo set up the restriction again and said to them, "Stay in here and cultivate. Don't go out." "Husband, aren't you going to forge god artifact? Are you going to leave?" Mu Xiaoyan looked at Yi Mo in confusion. Yi Mo nodded. "I'm going out for a while. After I come back, I will be going in solitary cultivation." Mu Xiaoyan seemed to know what Yi Mo was going to do and just said, "Be careful." Moments later, Yi Mo walked out of the Immortal Rest Tower. He looked down as he walked out of the ship God Harbor. He watched behind with his spirit sense. Shinta Shinda had been watching Yi Mo's room. He was thinking about how to go in and kill Yi Mo. By then, he would just give the manager some benefits. He didn't believe the manager would look for his trouble for a few immortals. But he didn't even dare to dream that Yi Mo dared to leave the harbor. Regardless of why, he immediately chased Yi Mo. He guessed that Yi Mo had means or stealthed his power and intentionally drew him out, but he didn't fear Yi Mo. There was no way Yi Mo was a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. Yi Mo was scared that Shinta Shinda wouldn't come. Now that Shinta Shinda came, Yi Mo breathed easy. The skinny Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, who stopped Shinta Shinda from attacking, saw Yi Mo dare to leave the harbor and dazed. When he saw Shinta Shinda follow Yi Mo out, he sneered, "He doesn't know what death is." It was unclear if he was talking about Yi Mo or Shinta Shinda. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 21-28, Unable to Retaliate. Chapter 21-28, Unable to Retaliate. Yi Mo didn't leave the harbor very far. He stopped where he would barely avoid the spirit sense of Tao Essence Divine Emperor. In the Divine Tao realm, due to space fissures and messy laws, spirit sense would be limited. Yi Mo reached hundreds of thousands of km away in a very short time. You drew me here probably because you have a lethal blow, right? Don't disappoint me. But of course, regardless, after I kill you, I will be taking your 2 women. Shinta Shinda sneered at Yi Mo as his hand waved out a black arc. Yi Mo actually couldn't see what that arc magic artifact was. His spirit sense blades pierced in and found it was a dense cluster of needles. The dark needles seemed to be shaking with killing intent. "I believe your friend will come here in 15 minutes, right?" Yi Mo sneered. He knew that the reason Shinta Shinda dared to come here was 1, he wasn't scared of him, but 2, because Shinta Shinda brought someone along. "You're very smart, but in less than 15 minutes, I will be going back." Before Shinta Shinda finished, Yi Mo attacked. Yi Mo had decided to kill Shinta Shinda as quickly as possible. He was alone here, and if another person came, it wouldn't benefit him. He was certain that if things dragged out, even that manager would come. "You're right, it won't take 15 minutes, Yi Mo said and shot over 2 great primordial god runes. He could now barely release a 3rd one, but Yi Mo knew that doing that wouldn't allow him to kill Shinta Shinda in the shortest time. 2 great primordial god runes would definitely injure Shinta Shinda, but not kill him. It would startle this guy. Yi Mo couldn't release the terrifying name of the great primordial god rune yet. To him, it would be enough just to scare Shintashinda. 2 twisted god runes instantly sliced open Shintashinda's domain. In the wake of the god rune, space-time law had completely disappeared. All that was left in space was 2 twisted runes that ignored space and ignored time. Great primordial god rune. Shintashinda's face changed. Luckily, he was experienced in battle and didn't turn away immediately like others. The countless abstruse in-essence needles drew the black arc into 1 kilometer long that covered the path of the great primordial god rune. The needles weren't defense magic artifact, but he had to use it to defend now. Thud thud. The great primordial god rune hacked on the needle arc. The twisted god runes opened 2 twist arcs on the black arc and kept shooting at Shintashinda. But due to the needles, Shintashinda had released a huge seal defense magic artifact. As soon as he released it, he felt this terrifying killing intent lock onto him. Golden bow of divine extermination! Shintashinda couldn't raise any more courage to fight Yemo anymore. He was certain that Yemo was a Tao actualization divine emperor too. With these 2 terrifying ancient means, who knew if Yemo had more? Rumble! The 2 great primordial god runes were hurriedly blocked by Shintashinda's seal and slowed down a bit. But the reason great primordial god rune was so feared wasn't because it could be blocked, but after you blocked it, you didn't know its path. At the extreme, the great primordial god rune would ignore space-time law. Sometimes it could cross multiple realms to kill an opponent. After these 2 runes were blocked, it twisted space and hacked at Shintashinda from another direction, but it was just much weaker than before. Shintashinda couldn't even attack Yemo with the needles, nor take back his seal. He quickly released a shield and used mobility technique. The reason Yemo used great primordial god rune and golden bow of divine extermination at the same time was to kill Shintashinda in the shortest time. Otherwise, even if he killed Shintashinda, it would take a long time and he might get injured. He didn't have any friends here, but who knew how many friends Shintashinda had? The instant Shintashinda turned, Yemo shot out 3 arrows. He had 7 arrows. Yemo believed that with the great primordial god rune attacking Shintashinda, he didn't need to use 7 arrows. Golden beams sliced across and penetrated the needles that weren't controlled by Shintashinda. Shintashinda tensed up. He felt the surrounding space turn into a cold hand that squeezed his neck, making him unable to breathe. His mobility technique was locked, and he couldn't continue using it. Shintashinda knew clearly that this was the lock of the golden arrow of divine extermination. If possible, he would rather beg for mercy, but he knew that doing that would make him die faster. He didn't understand why this random person who came here had such terrifying means. Crack, crack. Shintashinda's shield barely stopped the first rune. The second rune sliced under his waist. Blood, mist sprayed, and half his leg was gone. Shintashinda cursed. If there wasn't the golden bow of divine extermination, the 2 great primordial god runes wouldn't be able to slice off his leg. If the 2 great primordial god rune couldn't damage him, he would be able to retaliate. However, there was no if in this world. Just when Shintashinda flashed this thought, the first golden arrow appeared before him. At this moment, all the life force in Shintashinda's surrounding space had been annihilated. The world before him was gray now. Lifeless gray. Shintashinda roared and smashed out both hands. Fist winds were punched out and rippled against the golden bone arrow. The golden bone arrow seemed to have met resistance and slowed. The surrounding life force seemed to have recovered. Crack! Space rippled, crumbled, and the golden bone arrow sliced across one of Shintashinda's fists. One of Shintashinda's hand started to disintegrate. Shintashinda couldn't care about it now. He wanted to release another defense magic artifact and run away, but an even colder killing intent locked onto him. Before he could still find some life force with his punch, but now he had no chance. 3 golden bone arrows came before him at the same time. Shinta looked at this in despair and lost the will to fight. Thud! Blood splashed everywhere, and Shinta's body exploded. Then he heard the words, "It seems I have overestimated you." Even if Shinta was angry, he couldn't express it. Yi-Emo took Shinta's storage ring and his needles before burning the marks of the battle and disappearing. Yi-Emo knew that although it seemed easy for him to kill Shinta, he used all his means. Luckily, Shinta only made him shoot 4 arrows. Although he used some stamina, he wouldn't need to stop and recover. If Shinta came with someone else, Yi-Emo wouldn't dare to use such means to kill Shinta quickly. After Yi-Emo left, he ate a few Essence Chi, recovering God pills, and went back inside the harbor quickly. That white-skinned, narrow-eyed manager saw Yi-Emo coming alone. He thought that this person would definitely be dead when Shinta went out. He said that Yi-Emo was asking to die, but this little immortal emperor came back, but Shinta didn't. What was going on? Wait, where is Shinta? This manager stopped Yi-Emo and asked coldly, "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2129 Head There Alone. Chapter 2129 Head There Alone. Yi-Emo looked at this manager for a while and said, "How would I know? I have some conflict with him. I wouldn't care about him." "I know. What did you go out to do?" The manager's tone was cold. Yi-Emo said plainly, "I've paid to live here. Do I need to report to you for going out and peeing? Did I sell myself to you, or are those who live here restricted from even doing anything?" This manager was lost for words, but Yi-Emo went inside the Immortal Rest Tower slowly. He didn't keep asking Yi-Emo, and quickly left the harbor. In a short while, he arrived at the place Yi-Emo and Shinta battled. Just looking at this burnt place, he took a cold breath. He was certain that Shinta was killed, but that Yi-Emo killed Shinta in such a short time. This was unheard of. Unless that Yi-Emo wasn't an immortal emperor. No, he definitely was not an immortal emperor. He was at least Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, or stronger. No wonder he dared to go to the Void Marketplace alone. Realizing this, the manager quickly returned to the harbor. "What are you doing here?" Yi-Emo stared coldly at the Tao Molding Divine Emperor standing in front of Qingru's room. He knew this person. This guy spoke to Xiaoyun and Qingru and then came down. This guy was called Feng Yingui and was from the Tsangyu God Valley. He clearly knew that Shinta went with Yi-Emo and didn't expect Yi-Emo could come back. He planned to get one person before Shinta came back. When Shinta came back, he wouldn't offend the Tsangyu God Valley for a woman. However, before Shinta came back, this Yi-Emo came back. "So, it's a mortal friendy I'm here to find." Feng Yingui was lost for words. "Piss off." Yi-Emo kicked and Feng Yingui spat a mouthful of blood. When he landed on the ground, he didn't dare to say anything. He left quickly. He wasn't dumb. Shinta left with Yi-Emo, but Shinta didn't come back. Yi-Emo came back instead. Not many people cared about Shinta going missing. Most people here were waiting for the ship towards the Void Marketplace. At this moment, Yi-Emo was organizing his things in the Golden Page world. He got tens of millions of top-grade God crystals from Shinta's storage ring, but there was only one middle-grade God spirit range. Yi-Emo had nearly 100 million God crystals now. The God spirit herbs and materials in Shinta's storage ring interested Yi-Emo, but Yi-Emo still favored the Truth Cloud Sand the most. After getting this, Yi-Emo was prepared to upgrade the space-time boat again. Little Blue couldn't met the Murder Dao Spear, but he could easily melt level 12 immortal material and forge top-grade God artifact. In order to increase defense, Yemo almost completely changed space-time boat's look. Not only were all the rooms changed, but all the formations were either switched or empowered. A year later, Yemo looked at this completely different space-time boat and finally breathed easy. With these two extreme-grade materials, space-time Bayo was forged into a top-grade god artifact, one that had very high defense. It was also due to his formation skills that he was able to upgrade the space-time boat to a top-grade god artifact. When he sealed the tunnel between Immortal Realm and Divine Dao Realm, his formation skills skyrocketed. Yemo knew that he shouldn't even think about tickets to the Void Marketplace. Now that his flying magic artifact was finished upgrading, he could head to the Void Marketplace. Yemo left the Golden Page world and found that both Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan were in the room. "Husband, you finished solitary cultivation." Mu Xiaoyan got up in surprise and joy. Qingru came over to ask some cultivation questions. Mu Xiaoyan didn't cultivate and helped Qingru answer them. Then they spoke about Yemo. Mu Xiaoyan spoke about Yemo's story from Earth to the small world. Qingru loved it. Yemo nodded and said, "Yes, Xiaoyan, call out Fu Fei. We're leaving now." Hearing this, both Qingru and Mu Xiaoyan were a bit nervous. After all, there were many people who were stronger than them, but they didn't dare to flying into the Void Marketplace with a magic artifact. Fu Fei soon came out, but he wasn't nervous at all. He was eager for this. "What? You're heading to the Void Marketplace now?" The Immortal Emperor looked at Yemo and them in disbelief. Even if it was for Dao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak Stage, they wouldn't dare to head to the Void Marketplace like this, but Yemo and them wanted to do this. "Yes, there's no tickets. We have to go alone," Yemo said. He wasn't very worried. He had been in the Void for a long time. He had all sorts of experience inside. Plus, even if there was an emergency, he would go into the Golden Page world. The main thing was that he had the location disc. Yemo and them going to the Void Marketplace caused a commotion in the harbor. Only very few Dao Essence Divine Emperors dared to go there alone. Now, even Dao Essence Divine Emperor don't dare to go there alone. Almost all the immortals of the harbor came out to watch. Even one Dao Essence Divine Emperor came. When Yemo released top-grade god artifact space-time boat, some Divine Emperors sighed. These 4 ordinary immortals were so wealthy. No wonder they dared to venture. Wait. One Dao Actualization Divine Emperor stopped Yemo. Yemo signaled the 3 to go on first before saluted with his fists. "We're going into the Void. What do you want?" The Dao Actualization Divine Emperor didn't salute with his fists and just pointed at the Void entrance. "This Void entrance isn't private. If you want to go through here, you need to pay God crystals, but I need to remind you, even if you go into the Void, you wouldn't be able to survive. If you trust me, Bifeng, I'm willing to find 4 tickets for you." The ship would come in a year or so. Bifeng seemed to be thinking for Yemo and them, but Yemo could tell from his eyes that he wanted his space-time boat. "I'm not going to give you God crystals. What are you going to do to me?" Yemo looked at Bifeng in contempt. He could tell Bifeng wasn't from the harbor at all. He just wanted to trick them to staying. Hearing this, Bifeng's face changed. He didn't expect Yemo to see through his act. If Yemo stayed, he would definitely have a way to get Yemo's top-grade god artifact. But now, an immortal emperor ignored him. He was angry, but there was nothing he could do. This was the harbor he couldn't attack. The manager saw this and sneered. He knew how terrifying Yemo was now. If Bifeng really kept Yemo, it would be suicide. Yemo controlled the space-time boat and left from the harbor. In a short while, it disappeared. For mere insects dares to go to the Void Marketplace alone. This is asking to die. Bifeng didn't get to trick Yemo, but he didn't dare to rob it publicly. Not right. Yemo looked at the location disc and frowned. "What's not right?" Mu Xiaoyan asked. Yi-Mo pointed at the disc. There's no direction on the disc. How do we get to the void marketplace? The void outside the void marketplace was endless. If you had no direction, there was no point flying. What do we do? Qing-Ru clearly knew the danger of the void. The immortal realm void was okay. After all, the 33 heaven domains split apart. Even if you had no direction, you would eventually get to one heaven domain, but the divine Tao realm void was different. If you went in, perhaps you wouldn't be able to find a real land in tens of thousands of years. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2130, Vast Tao Nourishment. Chapter 2130, Vast Tao Nourishment. This is impossible? Yi-Mo stared at this location disc as he watched. If it couldn't point out the direction of the void marketplace, what use did it have? I understand. Yi-Mo pointed at the disc, and a faint white line that was almost invisible suddenly appeared. It's far from the void marketplace here, and the disc can't point out the exact location of the void marketplace, but it can point out the approximate location. We'll go along this white line. Once we get to the border of the void marketplace, the disc should show the location of the void marketplace. Yi-Mo's space-time boat went along that white line for a month. Indeed, that white line cleared up a bit more. It was still not that clear, but Yi-Mo noticed the subtle change. The road to the void marketplace was distant and long. Dong and followed the great sun god mountain to the void marketplace and used nearly 50 years. According to Dong and the great sun god mountain's flying magic artifact was also top grade god artifact. Yi-Mo didn't think his flying magic artifact was that much faster than the great sun god mountain's. Fu Fei, under Yi-Mo's teachings, was now Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Mu Xiaoyan was Immortal Monarch primary stage, and Qing-Ru was a bit far behind. In the end, Yi-Mo took out the time formation disc to let Qing-Ru and Mu Xiaoyan use in turns. Qing-Ru's talent was no weaker than Mu Xiaoyan's. In a short half-year using the time formation disc, she reached Immortal King in the Golden Page world. Because Yi-Mo didn't cultivate, he controlled the space-time boat to be faster and faster. Yi-Mo was careful at the start, but later on, the space-time boat avoided all the hazards easily. Yi-Mo stood at the front of the boat and felt that vast space that was greater than the immortal realm's broken void and had this indescribable feeling. His Golden Page world became smaller and smaller as his power grew stronger. It was now a speck of dust, but later on, it might completely disappear. However, the space inside would only get bigger and bigger. Eventually, it might even be endless like this vast void. You didn't know if this vast void was big or small. Yi-Mo had this sudden enlightenment. In his eyes, the universe might be endless, but one day, once his cultivation reached a certain level, this boundless space void might be a speck of dust to him, just like the Golden Page world. If the universe, this vast, was only a speck of dust to him, then what sort of world would be outside this speck of dust? At this moment, Yi-Mo actually sat down. His mind and spirit had fused as one with this vast universe, as though he wanted to fuse this boundless universe into his Tao. This was the year the space-time boat was flying in the void. During these 9 years, Yi-Mo had been learning the universal void while controlling the space-time boat. Now that he was in sudden enlightenment, the space-time boat soon left its original path. Qing-Ru was now Immortal Monarch and gave the time formation disc to Mu Xiaoyan to break through to Immortal Emperor. She was planning to see the void of the divine Tao realm on the deck. At this moment, Yi-Mo happened to go into sudden enlightenment, and the space-time boat lost control. Qing-Ru was shocked and quickly left the Golden Page world and took over control of the space-time boat. She rejoiced that Brother Yi let open the authority to leave the Golden Page world. Otherwise, if the space-time boat rammed into an asteroid flow, it would be over. The clearing up line on the disk seemed to be blurring. Qing Ru controlled the boat and wanted to pull it back to the original direction. The divine Tao realm void was too vast. Even deviating a bit would make it hard to come back to the original position. Luckily, there was guidance on the location disk. However, Qing Ru's speed was tens of times slower than Yimo. 3 months passed. Today, a large gray shadow suddenly appeared in her spirit sense. This definitely wasn't an asteroid, nor a broken planet. Her spirit sense saw this and immediately knew it was a fragment of a small heaven domain. Qing Ru knew that there might be large amounts of immortal spirit items or treasures. She immediately stopped the space-time boat. Qing Ru wanted to call out Small Ginseng. Small Ginseng was naturally sensitive to small heaven domain as it came out of one. At this moment, Yimo's force suddenly kept rising. This vast, boundless qi spread from Yimo's body. Endless Tao waves circulated around him. In Qing Ru's eyes, Yimo seemed to be the entire void of the universe. Qing Ru subconsciously retreated a few steps and murmured, "This is Tao Qi? How come I feel that Brother Yi is everything in this universe?" Qing Ru had seen her master reach Tao-molding Divine Emperor. Li Xiu also had Tao waves circulating around her, but compared to Yimo's vast, boundless Tao, her master was only a small drop. Yimo suddenly got up, and the endless Tao waves circulated him even more. His howl couldn't be stopped by the void. His Tao waves along with his howl gathered the entire void, making his qi keep rising. When the qi rose to a peak, Yimo's howl suddenly stopped. He opened his eyes and smiled at Qing Ru. This was Tao nourishment. This powerful feeling made Yimo almost unable to believe it. He finally realized why some people would be forever stuck at Tao molding with special fortune. Meanwhile, some people would be able to reach Tao nourishment in a few decades or centuries. He was like that. He had been in the Golden Page world for all these years and didn't reach Tao nourishment, but a few years in the realm void made him successfully reach Tao nourishment. Qing Ru looked dazedly at Yimo and felt he had changed, but at the same time not changed at all. She soon reacted and walked up to Yimo. "Congratulations, brother, on breaking through." Yimo was very happy. This time, he not just reached Tao nourishment, he learned even more, but these things were inexpressible. He even learned a great god art. It was related to the vast void, but he couldn't form it yet. "Thank you. Did you stop here because you saw a small heaven domain?" Yimo smiled and asked. Qing Ru quickly said, "Ya brother Yi, look, that's a small heaven domain, but instant second, wrapped in gray. I was planning to call Shadowless and Small Ginseng out to sea, but Brother Yi woke up." "Lucky indeed. That's a small heaven domain." Yimo could tell that the small heaven domain was wrapped in cloud. Not every small heaven domain's cloud was poisonous. Yimo checked with his spirit sense. This was not poisonous. "Do we go in now? Should we call out Small Ginseng?" Qing Ru asked desperately. Yimo nodded, "Of course. Call them out after we go in. I haven't congratulated you on reaching Immortal Monarch. Your talent is the top, just like Xiaoyan. Compared to Brother Yi, this accomplishment is nothing." Qing Ru was shocked about Yimo's time formation disk. That thing was too absurd. At the same time, she realized why Yimo's cultivation speed was that fast. Yimo nodded and suddenly asked, "Qing Ru, I have a question I want to ask you. Your master has seen a lot of things, or maybe you know why too." Qing Ru looked at Yimo in confusion. Brother Yi was much stronger than her and her master. What did he want to ask? "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2131, Just One Step Missing. Chapter 2131, Just One Step Missing. Brother Yi asked, Qingru will tell you anything I know. Qingru said. Yi Mo nodded. I'm still a body refinement cultivator, and my body refinement has reached immortal god body peak stage. What? Brother Yi, you're already immortal god body peak stage? Qingru asked in shock. It was nothing shocking that Yimo was a body refinement cultivator, but it was too amazing that Yimo could reach immortal god body peak stage. That was just one step away from reaching divine body. Yimo didn't know if there was divine body in the divine Tao realm, but in the immortal realm, even in the legends, there has only been one who reached divine body in the countless years. That was still uncertain. Yes, I'm indeed immortal god body peak stage, but no matter how I cultivate, I'm still one step away from divine body. I thought before that my cultivation level was too weak and couldn't handle the power of the divine body, but now that I reached down nourishment, I still can't grasp divine body. After Yimo reached down nourishment, he realized that not being able to reach divine body had nothing to do WDTH, cultivation level. The reason he couldn't reach divine body might be because when he went through nirvana, he didn't use the entire chaos blue reed. He gave a part to Zhenbingyu, but Yimo wasn't very certain. He wanted to ask Qingru. If this was really the chaos, he would buy another chaos blue reed in the void marketplace. Chaos blue reed was rare, but all the races in the void marketplace probably had this thing. Qingru heard this and released that Yimo was Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. She immediately said, Brother Yi, reaching divine body is no small deal. One's talent had to be absurd, and their cultivation method must be powerful. You must not have any flaws during nirvana. If one of these things didn't hit the mark, then you can't reach divine body. In all the years of the immortal realm, it said only one powerful being reached divine body. Yimo heard this and realized the problem. He sighed, I think I know my problem. My cultivation method is fine. It's probably when I had nirvana, I didn't use the entire one. Yimo believed that his three-birth chant body refinement cultivation method was very powerful. Huh! Qingru realized and said, Brother Yi, you shouldn't share the Chaos Blue Reed with people. Chaos Blue Reed is the best nirvana item. If you split it, you will never have the chance to reach the divine body. Sigh. Yimo smiled. Chaos Blue Reed is rare, but I don't believe you can't get this in the void marketplace. I will definitely get an entire Chaos Blue Reed in the void marketplace and make up for the problem. Qingru shook her head. No, the reason nirvana is important is because it can't be made up for. Even if you find 100 Chaos Blue Reeds, it's pointless. Yimo dazed. He just split that bit to Zhenbingyu, and now he can't reach divine body. Yimo suddenly thought of Zhenbingyu's words. If you want to reach higher levels, it's best you use the entire one. It seemed she knew this already, but she didn't tell him. Yimo didn't blame Zhenbingyu. They were just using each other at the time. If he was with Zhenbingyu now, and the same situation came, would she ask for that small branch? Yimo soon got the answer. She definitely wouldn't. Seeing Yimo fall silent, Qingru suddenly said, Brother Yi, if your Chaos Blue Reed was used by another man, then there's no way. But if it's another woman, then there's a sliver of chance. Qingru suddenly stopped. That sliver of chance was duo cultivation, but what if Yimo didn't know that woman, or that woman was Yimo's sister, or that woman had lost her virginity? If it was any of those situations, Yimo would have no chance. What chance? Yimo quickly asked. Even if he reached primordial essence, divine emperor, he had to reach divine body if he wanted to stand at even higher grounds. Hearing this, Qingru knew that it was a woman who used part of the Chaos Blue Reed. She hesitated and said, if that woman is willing to duo cultivate with you, or so that's it. Yimo realized and thought about when Zhenbingyu offered her body to him at the Blue Mo Immortal City. She said giving her virginity and something else to him. Yemo finally realized what that other thing was. Seeing Qingru, looked at him in confusion. Yemo smiled. Qingru, thank you. I understand now. We'll go to the small heaven domain and see if there's really a lot of good things there. The space-time boat passed through the mist, and this extremely powerful repulsive force slowed down the space-time boat immediately. The cloud layer seemed endless. After going forward for 15 minutes, they were getting slower and slower until they couldn't go forward anymore. Qingru, go in the Golden Page world. Yemo knew that there was no way they could enter the small heaven domain with this space-time boat. Qingru knew the situation at hand and quickly went into the Golden Page world. Then Yemo put away the space-time boat and released Zissou. Yemo stood on Zissou, and his speed increased drastically. The repulsive force of the gray layer was extremely powerful, but it clearly couldn't push out a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Another 15 minutes later, the repulsion was gone and instead turned to a huge suction force. However, it couldn't affect Yemo at all. 5 minutes later, Yemo appeared in a more spacious place. This wasn't the void anymore. It was space that ordinary people could survive in. Yemo landed on the grass. A few wild rabbits saw Yemo, but didn't avoid him and instead stared at him. No wonder they weren't scared. After Yemo reached Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, all his qi was collected. Yemo's spirit sense scanned out and soon covered the entire small heaven domain. This place wasn't big, at most half the size of Earth. What disappointed Yemo was that there wasn't high-level immortal spirit herbs. Even the spirit herbs here weren't high-level. There was no god spirit herb nor Tao fruits. There weren't even spirit beast, just some ordinary wild beasts. Qingru, Shadowless, and Small Ginseng came out. Boss, this seems to be a very ordinary small heaven domain, Shadowless said. Small Ginseng shook his head. Not necessarily. Many small heaven domains look ordinary, but the truly precious things are hidden. Yemo trusted Small Ginseng more. Small Ginseng was naturally sensitive to spirit things. Seeing Boss look at him, Small Ginseng said satisfyingly, "This is a small heaven domain outside the divine Tao realm. The qi here isn't dense, but it's similar to the god spirit qi of the divine Tao realm." Hearing this, Yemo suddenly woke up. He was accustomed to the qi of God Spirit Qi, and didn't realize that although these things here were just ordinary spirit items, it didn't have the same ordinary qi as Earth. Small Ginseng continued, "Usually there are two explanations. One is that this isn't a good place, but I don't think that's likely. Second is that there's an extremely precious thing that sucked away 99% of the God Spirit Qi here. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2130, 2 Chaos Star Realms Immortal Emperor. Chapter 2130, 2 Chaos Star Realms Immortal Emperor. Small Ginseng might be right. Let's split apart now and find the spirit item. Yemo said, "In this small heaven domain, even Qingru's spirit sense can see everything much less Yemo's. When they split apart, there was no danger. In the 4th level of Chaos Star Realm, Yemo carefully let her spirit sense out, and she instantly felt her spirit sense being crushed clean. She quickly took back her spirit sense and said, Sister Bingyu, if it wasn't for you, I would probably be dead. I can't even come to the 1st level of the Chaos Star Realm. Zhan Bingyu nodded. Before, I came here only because I was with Yemo. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to come here. There are shadowless vultures and space whirlpools everywhere. My spirit sense cultivation method was taught by Yemo too. If you want to learn, I can teach you too." "Sure, of course I want to learn. Sister Bingyu, I see people rarely fly in here, but we can flying on our magic artifact. Is this due to your spirit sense cultivation method?" Yimo asked. Yes, the spirit sense cultivation method I got is… Before Zhan Bingyu finished, a powerful force pressed over. She was pressed on the ground with her flying magic artifact. Zhan Bingyu's face changed as she called out in shock, Immortal Emperor, "Humph, little girl, you have good talent and keen eyes. You can tell I'm an immortal emperor. Where is the young man that came with you?" He actually knew that he came into my spirit sense world and ran away. A man landed before Zhan Bingyu and Yimo. His face was expressionless, and there was a sliver of coldness in his eyes. Zhan Bingyu looked at this man in shock and said, "You're Wushuang, Immortal Emperor Master. I've been gone for many years, but a Wanbei knows my name. You're quite pretty looking. Even I rarely see women as pretty as you. You can be my wife." The Immortal Emperor said. He really was Mu Wushuang. Zhan Bingyu's face went bad. Hearing this, Zhan Bingyu's shock disappeared as she put Yimo behind her. "Wushuang, Immortal Emperor, Wanbei respect your power, but I can someone I like. If you want to do it by force, Wanbei will die." Hearing this, Mu Wushuang looked at Zhan Bingyu with more shock. "I didn't expect your character to be so fierce. But if I don't want you to die, you wouldn't even be able to die. Since you know I'm Mu Wushuang, you still reject me? After I go out, I'll crush the person you like and see what you have to say." Zhan Bingyu sneered but said nothing. This Mu Wushuang was dreaming. Yimo could probably killed Mu Wushuang with a finger now. Was Immortal Emperor very powerful? When it was MOU Immortal Sect opening ceremony, how many Immortal Emperors came to congratulate them? What, you don't believe me? Mu Wushuang's face sunk. Zhan Bingyu said, "If you can really crush him, then come to me and speak." "Haha," Mu Wushuang laughed. "Your cultivation progress is not bad. The guy whom you fled with is the person you like that? Even if his cultivation speed is the same as yours, he's only an immortal king. I really can crush him with a finger." Seeing Zhan Bingyu sneer, Mu Wushuang was annoyed and his tone went cold. "The emperor shall kill him first and take you away. I never make bluffs. Tell me what his name is." Yimo could tell that Mu Wushuang wanted to kill her dad, so she said, "Sister Bingyu is talking about my dad Yimo. You want to kill my dad just with your little power? Keep dreaming. You're his daughter." Mu Wushuang looked at Yimo in confusion and then at Zhan Bingyu. "That's right, I'm Yimo's daughter." Yimo said with pride, "Very well, I won't touch you two today. When I bring Yimo's head over, I'll talk." Then Mu Wushuang flashed and disappeared before them. Before they could say anything, Mu Wushuang appeared before them again. "Tell me, do you know of Wei Feng Immortal Emperor's news lately?" Zhan Bingyu answered, "It said Wei Feng Grand Emperor went to God Necropolis Domain." "God Necropolis Domain? What is that?" Mu Wushuang frowned and asked. He had never heard of this God Necropolis Domain. It's said to be a realm higher than a mortal realm. Many immortal emperors went over to vindicate Tao. Zhan Bingyu said. Mu Wushuang's face changed and asked, "Divine Tao realm? The place Zhuye Qian Bei came from?" Zhan Bingyu really wanted to ask what the Divine Tao realm and Zhuye Qian Bei was before she resisted. "You don't know the Divine Tao realm?" Mu Wushuang could tell from Zhan Bingyu's face that she didn't know about the Divine Tao realm. "Yes, I've never heard of the Divine Tao realm. It's just said that the tunnel from the immortal realm to the God Necropolis Domain is open. Those with Immortal Emperor can go over to vindicate Tao." Zhan Bingyu said. Mu Wushuang's face changed. He returned to Immortal Emperor peak stage and wanted to kill Wei Feng and them to get revenge. It would be all too easy, but Wei Feng was no longer the immortal realm. Since one can vindicate Tao at the God Necropolis Domain, it was quite possibly the Divine Tao realm. When Zhuye Qian Bei gave him the corner soul weed, he said he came from the Divine Tao realm. If Wei Feng Immortal Emperor came back from the God Necropolis Domain as a Divine Emperor, then he would be slapped to death in one palm. No, he had to go to the God Necropolis Domain. After a long while, Mu Wushuang asked, "How do I go to the god Necropolis domain?" Zhan Bingyu didn't hesitate and threw a jade slip to Mu Wushuang again. Mu Wushuang looked at the jade slip, and there was a sliver of joy. "Thank you. I will come back and take you under my wing. I promise I won't kill your lover. Here's a jade slip in return." Mu Wushuang threw it and then disappeared. So cocky. Yimo stared at Mu Wushuang's direction and sneered. This person was gained up on due to being too cocky. When he sees Brother Yi in the future, he will be bashed up. Yimo, ignore him, let's go. Zhan Bingyu didn't even look at the jade slip and threw it into her storage ring while releasing her flying magic artifact. They wanted to go even deeper at the 4th level. Even ordinary great immortals didn't dare to go deep into the Chaos Star Realm level 4, but Zhan Bingyu was an immortal king. Sister Bingyu, why don't you look at what that guy marked in the jade slip? It might be something good. Yimo thought about the jade slip. She detested Mu Wushuang, but the thing an immortal emperor gave out shouldn't be too bad, right? Yimo's eyes were rolling. Zhan Bingyu suddenly patted Yimo's head and said, "Yimo, how come I feel you're exactly the same as Yimo?" Zhan Bingyu knew Yimo's character. He was someone who couldn't move seeing something that was good. Nevertheless, Zhan Bingyu still took out the jade slip. Her spirit sense just casually scanned, and her face showed shock. "What's wrong?" Yimo came up and scanned her spirit sense in. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2133, Yellow Middle Plum. Chapter 2133, Yellow Middle Plum, Immortal Marrow Pond? Yimo called out in shock. Then she asked in disbelief, "Would that old guy be nice?" "He definitely took it already." Zhan Bingyu was very excited and shook her head. "Not necessarily. Mu Wushuang is already Immortal Emperor peak stage. If he wants to increase his power, it's not as simple as stacking up resources. The Immortal Marrow Pond is useful to him, but not as important as we think. Regardless, Sister Bingyu, why don't we go there and see first?" Yimo's eyes were gleaming with light. At this moment, Yimo was frowning to an ordinary grass. He had been searching for 3 days in this small heaven domain. He felt there was this calling. Yimo carefully checked the grass patch before him and couldn't see anything. It seemed he could only call small ginseng over. Small ginseng had a natural instinct to natural formation. Just when Yimo was going to call small ginseng over, his face changed. He disappeared from this patch of grass and appeared before Qingru. There was a white-haired man before Qingru. He was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Primary Stage. Yimo was shocked. When he came here, his spirit sense didn't notice this person. An immortal emperor, an immortal monarch, and a decent god beast and an ice ginseng can find this place. You're bold indeed. The white-haired man looked at Yimo and said, "Brother Yi." Qingru called with a pale face and stood behind Yimo. "How did this guy find you?" Yimo stared at the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor and asked. He was certain this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor wasn't human. There was a white mist around him. "I saw a een plum here and wanted to dig it. However, I dug open a natural stealth formation," Qingru said. Yimo nodded. Natural stealth formation usually appeared next to plum or peach trees. Hee, luckily you dug me out. Otherwise, I closed off my senses to find things. Even if you suddenly left, I wouldn't know. It would be a pity that such a perfect cultivation woman would be gone. You're a mere immortal emperor. I can kill you easily." The white-haired man said. Yimo sneered, You're only a Tao actualization divine emperor primary stage, and you dare to be this cocky. You can see my cultivation level. The white-haired man's face changed. He could tell from Yimo's words that Yimo wasn't an immortal emperor. He couldn't see through Yimo's stealth cultivation level. As they spoke, Shadowless and Small Ginseng came over too. As they spoke, Shadowless and Small Ginseng came over. Yimo signaled Shadowless, Small Ginseng, and Qingru to retreat. At the same time, he released Zisu. This white-haired man saw Yimo release a magic artifact that was barely a low-grade god artifact and sneered. He released 2 blood color rings. Zisu fell bring this twisted purple sword rune that covered the entire small heaven domain. Seeing this, the Tao actualization divine emperor's eyes narrowed. His heart skipped fast as he smashed out his 2 rings. After the 2 rings came out, the sky of the small heaven domain became blood. This blood-red killing intent that was about to erode to the depth of the soul rose up. Shadowless and them hid very far. Even so, they were invaded by the blood color and shivered. Yimo sneered. Falling Mark's sword rune shook and hacked into this blood color. Clank! Yimo's sword seemed to have smashed a glass bottle filled with blood, and the blood color splashed apart. The soul-eroding killing intent was also split apart, and the heaven of the small heaven domain returned to its original color. The Tao actualization divine emperor didn't expect Yimo to have his divine demon blood ring in one strike and broke the blood domain too. Yimo just used a low-grade god artifact. That twisted sword rune was too scary. Before the falling Mark's sword rune spread, Yimo smashed out 5 lightning spear destruction. At the same time, a minor space ripple spread. The 5 lightning spear destruction smashed down, bringing up blood mist. That Tao actualization divine emperor disappeared after being smashed by the 5 lightning spear destruction. Yimo's face looked bad. He didn't expect the 5 lightning spear destruction to only heavily injure the Tao actualization divine emperor. If this Tao actualization divine emperor just used mobility technique to run, Yimo was certain that he couldn't get far. However, that guy released a terrifying rune. This rune broke open his 5 lightning spear destruction and even his domain. This guy was evenly matched with him and only had a little lower hand, but he was willing to use such a precious rune to run without hesitation. He was too careful. This rune was probably as valuable as an extreme grade god artifact. Yimo regretted. He should have used the golden bow of divine extermination immediately. Brother, did he run away? Qingru asked. This person is so timid. He turned to Ran before the fight even began. Shadowless said in contempt. Yimo nodded. He got away. I didn't expect there would be someone as careful as him. He used the best rune to flee before the battle even began. Small Ginseng said, Boss, this person definitely thinks the same as us. This place is filled with golden core state, but has no high-level immortal spirit herbs. He guessed that there's a top-level good thing here, and thus hid in the stealth formation and shut off his senses to use his spirit sense to search. By the looks of it, he had been here for many years. How come he still found nothing? Even if there are good things, we might not be able to find it. Shadowless said. Small Ginseng said in contempt, What do you know? Real, heavenly treasures need to be mastered. If the treasure thought the person didn't have the right or power to be instant second master, it would definitely not come out. Yimo immediately thought about how he felt a strong calling and immediately said to Small Ginseng, I saw a potential natural stealth formation, but with my formation skills I can't find the entrance. Help me look at it. The group soon came to that patch of grass. Small Ginseng looked carefully and frowned. There's nothing here. Before he finished, a figure gradually went from hollow to being real. Even Yimo looked at this figure in disbelief. There was a nearly 30 m tall, huge tree here. It was very lush green, and there were yellow fruits on it. There was about 100 or so. This heart, soothing aroma spread, and everyone's mind felt cleared. Qingru even felt her cultivation level increase for no reason. Yemo just wanted to say this tree was so familiar when small ginseng said in shock, "Yellow middle plum." If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2130, Four Void Pirates. Chapter 2130, Four Void Pirates. Yellow middle, plum of the 10 great spirit items. Qingru called out in shock. Yellow middle plum was one of the 10 great spirit items and was a very delicious chaos Tao fruit. Eating it can help you learn world laws and your own Tao. Therefore, yellow middle plum has another name called the Tao law fruit. It was very hard for the yellow middle plum tree to bear fruit. Each fruit had different world laws, but each fruit was unique to the world. Yemo could tell this yellow middle plum was the same as the branch he had in the Golden Page world. The branch didn't have pure roots. The middle-aged man he saw at the ethereal immortal pond had branch. The branch probably came from this tree. Yemo looked at the tree, and indeed, there was a mark of a broken branch. It really is the yellow middle plum. Yemo suppressed his joy and touched the tree. 108 fruits were a priceless treasure each. Boss, I know. The original owner of the yellow middle plum died, and so it hid here itself. Now it wants to find a master, so small ginseng said in joy. Yemo had Chaos World and World Tree. It was normal that the yellow middle plum wanted to recognize Yemo as master. Yemo agreed to small ginseng. The chaos spirit items of the world each had their own consciousness. The reason he got the 3 golden pages were because they hid themselves on Earth. Who was to be certain that it wasn't because they wanted to serve him as master? Thinking about this, Yemo communicated to the yellow middle plum with his will and wanted to send it into his Golden Page world. As soon as he made the thought, the yellow middle plum landed in his Golden Page world with a sliver of joy. It was on opposite sides to the bitter bamboo. So this was it indeed. Yemo scanned his Golden Page world and smiled. He suspected that the reason Qingru came here was due to the yellow middle plum. Seeing Yemo take the yellow middle plum so easily, Qingru knew that small ginseng was right. The yellow middle plum wanted to recognize Yemo as master, or it wouldn't be taken away so easily. I've heard it's very hard to bear fruits on the yellow middle plum. Why is there so many fruits on this one? Qingru asked in confusion. Yemo knew, but before he answered, small ginseng said it's very hard indeed. It said that it only bears a fruit every 10,000 years, but if the number of fruits reached the number of heaven and earth, it would stop increasing. The tree has 108 fruits now, so it means that the tree has been here for at least 8 million years. Shadowless said, perhaps the yellow middle plum had 100 fruits here when it hid here. How would you know? Impossible. Small ginseng said, how do you know? The previous owner of the yellow middle plum definitely died. That's why the yellow middle plum appeared here. There was no way he would waste the fruits of the yellow middle plum before he died. Yemo felt both of them were right, so he waved his hand. Now's not the time to discuss this. Let's leave here quickly. After leaving the small heaven domain, Yemo released Space-Time Boat and let them go in the Golden Page world to watch the yellow middle plum. He tried to get back on the original tracks as quickly as possible. This time, they seemed to have went off very far. It took 4 years for Yemo to see the line clear up. Most of the times, Qing-Ru chatted with Yi Mo on the deck or watched the void. She would occasionally go cultivate. The vast void contained too many unknown. Even at Yi Mo's level, there was still too much he didn't know. Shadowless and Small Ginseng wanted to control the ship, but Yi Mo sent them away without hesitation. In this void realm, it was the safest only if he controlled the ship. After another decade, the line pointing to the void marketplace became clearer and clearer. They wouldn't need 50 years to reach the void marketplace. The space-time boat had reached an extreme speed under Yi Mo's control. It was like a teleporting blur. But despite this, under the search of a powerful spirit sense, the space-time boat would be caught. A spirit sense scanned past Yi Mo's space-time boat and even on Yi Mo and Qing-Ru's body. This spirit sense was extremely powerful and dominant. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned and saw 11 people. They surrounded a purple flying god artifact and kept attacking it. There were 5 Tao Actualization Divine Emperors and 6 Tao Nourishment Divine Emperors. Seeing this purple flying god artifact, Yi Mo was shocked. It was very strenuous and hard for him to get a top-grade flying god artifact, but now he easily saw a half-extreme grade god artifact. The purple flying god artifact had 2 Tao Actualization Divine Emperors protecting it, but clearly the defense formation wasn't going to last long. In a short time, Yi Mo's top-grade flying god artifact was near here. That's an extreme-grade flying god artifact. Qing-Ru exclaimed. No, it's a half-extreme-grade flying god artifact. Yi Mo shook his head and said, Qiao Zhen had been ravaging the void for millenniums, and this is the first time I see someone not thinking about running away and instead discussing flying magic artifact levels. Good. A man who was nearly 3 meters tall laughed. He left the group of 11 and stopped Yi Mo's space-time boat. Don't just talk about other people's flying magic artifact. I think your flying magic artifact is not bad. It's a high-quality top-grade flying god artifact. Qiao Zhen studied Yi Mo's space-time boat. Void pirate. Qing-Ru called out in shock. You just realized? No wonder you dare to follow an immortal emperor into the void. Qiao Zhen studied Qing-Ru and said, such a pretty immortal. I've never seen such a perfect woman in all my life. Huxian, I'm going to take that woman. A skinny man dashed over and cleared wanted Qing-Ru. Qiao Zhen, who was called Huxian, said, I'm not interested in women. I only want this flying magic artifact. He then stared at Yi Mo and laughed. Do you know why he called me Huxian? Because when I fight with people, I like to burn them crisp. So I'm called Huxian. Yi Mo released Zisu's shatter space before he finished. Even in the void, it illuminated out a 100 kilometers purple ray that instantly annihilated. Qiao Zhen's voice. Yi Mo reached Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor in the void and learned a lot of void laws. Shatter space was still the same god art, but its seeping out lethal force was grinded out, and what replaced it was this vibrant purple ray. When the purple ray fell, the nearby void became purple. Qiao Zhen was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor primary stage, but he instant sunk into this purple ray. But soon he reacted. This wasn't a purple ray, it was a death beam, one that he didn't sense any killing intent from. Shivers went across his body. As a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, how could he not know that the greater the god art, the more terrifying the lethal force? If lethal force was stealthed, then it was a god art that perfectly fused with world laws. He sweat cold and immediately released a flame like gray magic artifact. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2135 Gain Up. Chapter 2135 Gain Up, a terrifying, scorching gray, exploded like a bomb. In one instant, the surrounding void was covered by a terrifying gray flame. Some went against Shatter Space Sword Mark, but more attacked Yemo. Even amidst this flame, Zisu had this shocking purple ray. Void gray flame. Yemo immediately recognized this heaven flame. It was a heaven flame, ranked 14th. Yemo was certain this void gray flame had a fire spirit, or it wouldn't be this mobile. It was at least a god flame level. Yemo had never seen someone use a flame as his main attack magic artifact. Qiao Zhen did this clearly because he had faith in his flame and had a flame god art. Little Blue was jumping around in Yemo's dantian, eager to come out and attack the void gray flame. Even if Little Blue didn't react, Yemo planned to use fire to teach this guy a lesson. Before void gray flame reached Yemo's space-time boat, Yemo punched. Yemo fused his flame into his fist god art. A blue fire wall smashed out silently. There was no sound when the blue fire wall hit the void gray flame. 2 seconds later, there was a sharp shriek. The void gray flame seemed to have encountered a terrifying predator and immediately retreated. At this moment, the second and third blue firewall came like waves. Blue like morning sky, Qiao Zhen clearly knew flames well. It was too terrifying that Yemo fused flame into his fist god art and smashed out such flame waves. If he couldn't stop this flame, then even if he didn't die, he would be heavily injured. The Divine Emperors attacking the purple flying magic artifact noticed things weren't right. 1 Dao Actualization Divine Emperor and 3 Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor flew over quickly. With this, only 5 people still attacked the purple flying magic artifact. The 2 Dao Actualization Divine Emperors on the purple flying magic artifact immediately had much less pressure. The 2 just glanced over at Yemo and took back their spirit sense. At the same time, the flying magic artifact suddenly changed directions and left through gaps between the 5 divine emperors and disappeared. These people are too shameless. Qingru cursed in anger. Yemo was helping them attack the void pirates, but they ran away instead. Yemo sneered. He detested such people. If he didn't want to attack, Qiao Zhen definitely wouldn't be able to stop his space-time boat. He stayed to help. He didn't expect this to happen. Sometimes you really couldn't be too nice. Qiao Zhen used his essence qi like crazy. He just needed to defend this time. Things would be much easier when his team came. But no matter what, the blue like morning sky swept away the void gray flame like nothing. A sharp shriek came from the gray flames. Yemo felt blue like morning sky's level increase a lot instantly. He immediately understood. The 2 flames were both god flames, but blue like morning sky's level was higher than the gray flame, so he devoured the void gray flame. The instant this happened, the 4th blue firewall swept Qiao Zhen. Yemo knew that Qiao Zhen was of no concern now. Yemo tried to send a message to Little Blue, making it attack the skinny Dao Actualization Divine Emperor with the 5th flame wall. Yemo was rejoiced to hear Little Blue's reply in a baby voice, "No problem, boss." Little Blue could speak now. He copied Shadowless's tone too. Yemo knew now wasn't the time to ask about this. When the 5th flame wall attacked the skinny Dao Actualization Divine Emperor, Qiao Zhen used mobility technique. When Shatter Space Blade fell down and blood mist-sprayed, Qiao Zhen was hacked in half. His mobility technique was stopped halfway. The blue flame swept and Qiao Zhen's essence, spirit, and body were destroyed. Only a storage ring remained that appeared in Yemo's hand. The skinny Dao Actualization Divine Emperor barely stopped Yemo's 5th firewall and retreated to the other people. The 10 people looked dazedly at Qiao Zhen's place. "How dare you kill Huxian?" The skinny Dao Actualization Divine Emperor was the first to rage attack together, pull his soul, and sacrifice to Husain. The 10 divine emperors attacked Yi Mo together. Yi Mo knew his space-time boat's defense formation wouldn't be able to stop their attacks, so he came out of the boat. Qing Ru retreated instantly with the boat. The only thing she could do was not get in the way. The 10 void pirates ignored Qing Ru. To them, Yi Mo was dead now, their domains stacked together. In their view, with this many domains and magic artifacts stacked together, Yi Mo would certainly be crushed. Yi Mo had never been through such terrifying pressure. He felt his divine emperor domain getting completely torn apart. A terrifying force smashed on him, about to tear him to pieces. He spat a few mouthfuls of blood, but didn't smash out Zisu. He shrunk his domain to 10 meters and smashed out 6 shatter space, spirit, sense god arts. 6 Tao nourishment divine emperors. If it was one-on-one battle, Yi Mo could kill one instantly. But now he could only use spirit sense god art to ambush. Seeing Yi Mo spit blood, the 4 Tao actualization divine emperors rejoiced and attacked Yi Mo again. The 6 Tao nourishment divine emperors paused due to being ambushed by Yi Mo's god art. Yi Mo quickly released adamantium great vehicle painting. With the sound of Sanskrit tones, tens of golden monks came out that joined up to stop the attacks of the 4 Tao actualization divine emperor. Adamantium great vehicle painting. 1 Tao actualization divine emperor recognized this immediately and called out in surprise and joy. Yi Mo knew that his adamantium great vehicle painting wouldn't last 3 seconds. After using the spirit sense god art, he smashed down with 6 lightning spears. The 6 Tao nourishment divine emperors' sea of consciousness was torn apart. If Yi Mo was still Tao molding divine emperor, the Tao nourishment divine emperors could possibly defend against this, but now that Yi Mo was Tao nourishment divine emperor, these 6 Tao nourishment divine emperor had no chance. 6 extremely thick lightning spears struck down. Even the golden monks seemed a bit eerie under the illumination of the black lightning. Splurge! The 6 Tao nourishment divine emperors turned to bloody mist. Crack! The adamantium great vehicle painting made a cracking sound. Yi Mo knew that the painting wasn't broken, but it was useless now. There was a sense of weakness coming from his sea of consciousness. The 4 Tao actualization divine emperors immobilized his adamantium great vehicle painting and broke his meridians. If it wasn't that his body was sturdy, he would be disembodied. Yi Mo resisted the urge to spit essence blood and instead went in. He waved out 2 great primordial god runes. Great primordial god rune, 1 chubby Tao actualization divine emperor middle stage called out shakily. Don't be scared, he's almost done for. The skinny Tao actualization divine emperor called out quickly and released a dragon tooth hell seal. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2130, 6 God, Rune Doing Work. Chapter 2136 God Rune Doing Work. Yi Mo forcefully used his spirit sense and smashed down Su at the same time the 2 great primordial god runes went out. Great primordial god rune plus falling mark sword rune. This region of void had become twisted. The 2 great primordial god runes clearly had no target, but the 4 Tao actualization divine emperors felt they were charging at them. A Tao actualization divine emperor primary stage finally couldn't resist his shock and dashed away, disappearing. He couldn't see through Yi Mo's cultivation level, but to be able to kill 1 Tao actualization divine emperor and 6 Tao nourishment divine emperor in one go wasn't simple. Coward, So what if he has great primordial god rune? He's at his wit's end. If us three join up, we can kill him. The skinny man sneered as the dragon tooth hell seal protected him. The other two released their defense magic artifact. They didn't run, but they didn't attack. They would protect themselves first. The name of great primordial god rune was too ferocious. It ignored space-time. No one would be careless. To be able to reach Tao actualization divine emperor, who didn't spend countless years and endure countless hardships. If they were killed as simply as Qiao Zhen, it would be such a waste. Two great primordial god rune attacked that chubby Tao actualization divine emperor middle stage. Yi Mo could tell he was scared of the great primordial god rune the most. The chubby Tao actualization divine emperor middle stage saw two great primordial god runes came at him, as well as the twisted sword rune. He couldn't care and immediately disappeared in a dashing light. He was certain that even if his partners could kill Yi Mo, he would be heavily injured or killed by the great primordial god rune. With two running, Yi Mo didn't hesitate. The great primordial god rune and falling mark sword rune, he purposely slowed attacked the other Tao actualization divine emperor tertiary stage and avoided the skinny man. The Tao actualization divine emperor tertiary stage didn't run, but released a pitch-black ruler magic artifact. It wanted to block the two great primordial god rune, while his defense magic artifact became the second line of defense. Rumble! The great primordial god rune hacked the black ruler and instantly twisted. The twisting ripple seemed to have fused into the void and disappeared. Yi Mo reached Tao nourishment divine emperor in the void and fused the void into his Tao. The great primordial god rune swam like fish in the void. Seeing this Tao actualization divine emperor tertiary stage's face immediately changed. He was scared of the great primordial god rune because he knew it could ignore space-time. Now, two great primordial god runes disappeared before him, but in his senses, they still existed. He immediately began vigilant. Seeing Yi Mo didn't attack him, the skinny man's seal turned into a 100 kilometers tall mountain that smashed at Yi Mo. Even so, he released a defense magic artifact shield to protect him. He was still worried about the great primordial god rune, when a subtle god rune seeped out from the back of the black ruler. This Tao actualization divine emperor tertiary stage could no longer resist his terror. What shocked him even more was that there was this powerful life force coming from Yi Mo. This wasn't something heavily injured people could have. The Tao actualization divine emperor tertiary stage could no longer care. His black turned into a black line that disappeared with him. If great primordial god rune could ignore space, it meant that the great primordial god rune was in great completion master. Even Tao essence divine emperor didn't dare to underestimate this. It was dreaming for him to take out these two great primordial god runes. Plus, Yi Mo wasn't heavily injured, but when he fled, he felt things weren't right. The great primordial god rune was ferocious. Even if he ran, it should chase up and heavily injure him. Why wasn't he injured? He was confused, but he didn't have the courage to go back and fight Yi Mo, seeing his last team go. There was horror in the eyes of the skinny Tao actualization divine emperor. He also felt the dense life force coming from Yi Mo's body. He could care anymore. He grabbed the seal and turned to smoke. The two great primordial god runes crossed the black ruler, but its power was greatly diminished. If this Tao actualization divine emperor didn't go, it would at most injure him slightly. Yi Mo breathed. If these two didn't run, he would have to take out his golden bow of divine extermination. Yi Mo didn't want to do that, as if he did, he would have to kill them. Exposing his golden bow of divine extermination here was no small matter. Yi Mo knew Li Xiu's character, and she definitely wouldn't expose this, but other people were different. The golden bow of divine extermination was something even primordial essence, divine emperor wanted. Yi-Emo didn't even plan to take out the 36 lightning sea god orbs unless he was certain he could kill all 11 of them. Yi-Emo knew that the 2 ran away, also due to the Chaos Tree. The Chaos Tree couldn't repair his broken meridians, but it could allow him to have powerful life force and recover his wounds. 7 of the 11 divine emperors died and 4 ran away. Yi-Emo was about to fall. Qingru was very worried and quickly came over on the space-time boat, dragging Yi-Emo inside, and then changed directions as they flew off. Yi-Emo was quite heavily injured this time. He left Shadowless and them to control the space-time boat while he went in the Golden Page world to recover. Even a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor would need the best God Spirit herb or long time in solitary cultivation to recover from meridians being broken. But for Yi-Emo, who had the Chaos Tree, he used just half a year to completely recover. He scanned with his spirit sense and found that they were on the right track to the Void Marketplace. He didn't go out and took off a Yumiaodon fruit. It was extremely tasty in his mouth when the fruit came in and turned into a well of Tao waves that flowed in Yumo's body. The fruit seemed to be able to sense Yumo's learnings and turned into void laws that helped Yi-Emo fuse all his enlightenments together. At the same time, it helped Yi-Emo grasp the God art laws that he couldn't reach. Yi-Emo went into enlightenment again and completely ignored his surroundings. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.